It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland. Well, the Pistons' big moves of free agency are likely wrapped up, and it's a couple of former Michigan men, Karis LeVert, Duncan Robinson, a scorer, a shooter, best way to describe those two players, but nonetheless, these are two worse players than both Dennis Schroeder and Malik Beasley. And look, I was going to come on here and complain about the Pistons not taking advantage of an Eastern Conference that is potentially wide open next season with all the injuries going on, and how they downgraded their players instead of upgrading like we talked about all offseason. There's a difference between rushing the process and simply improving your team. And I thought that the Pistons, one, did neither, but they could have improved the team without rushing the process. But at the end of the day, how upset can we be? Because this comes down to the Malik Beasley situation, right? This totally screwed Trajan Langdon and the rest of the Pistons front office over. They were prepared to sign Beasley to a 3-year, $42 million contract as soon as free agency opened. And I assume he was going to sign that and come back. It seemed like he wanted to come back. Not bringing back any of Schroeder, Beasley, and Tim Hardaway Jr. for sure wasn't in the Pistons' plans. And the Beasley gambling scandal threw a wrench in everything. They had to pivot to LeVert and Robinson, two guys who probably aren't on the roster if they re-signed Beasley. I want to be upset with Trajan Langdon, but we have to be more upset at Malik Beasley. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt for the most passionate fans in Michigan.
They tell us we're more connected these days. We have cell phones, email, text messaging, yet we've never felt more disconnected from the people we care about the most. We need a place that's all about bringing us together. Say hello to the Great Lakes Bay region, where towns like Saginaw, Midland, Bay City, Birch Run, Chesaning, and Frankenmuth help us leave behind the overscheduled world we live in and visit a place we haven't seen in a while. One where the people make us feel right at home. And we remember just how bright our kids' eyes get, peeking through a riverboat railing, just to catch a glimpse of the wildlife. So let's go fishing, bird watching. Let's blow the suds off a local tap, take a tall ship dinner cruise at sunset, or stop by a festival just because the name made us smile. Right here in the Great Lakes Bay region, where reconnecting with what really matters is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning, Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. Appointment radio across the state.
Remember that. Hello. Good morning and welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. It is Big Win Wednesday, which means one of you lucky listeners is going home with the prize, and the rest of the summer, it is Detroit Tigers tickets. That's right. Every Wednesday, the rest of the summer, right here on the Ben Bosscher Show, we're sending one lucky fan and a friend to Comerica Park. Our tickets giveaway is at 10:15 today. So you got to be listening. You got to be ready to text in. It is for not this weekend, but the following weekend's game on Saturday against the Mariners in Comerica Park. So this is just the first giveaway we're doing of the summer. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, but we're now committed to giving away Detroit Tigers tickets every Wednesday here on the Ben Bosscher Show for Big Win Wednesday. That's coming up at 10:15. Excited about that. Excited about sending someone to Comerica Park. A little bit later on, in the show and later on in the schedule. So with that being said, we'll put a pin on that until 10:15. We've got to work some Detroit Lions in a little bit later. Get this. Training camp, 2 weeks away. Rookies report 2 weeks from today. This, the football fever's there, and we're getting real close, ladies and gents. We're getting real close to football season. Lions camp starts a little bit sooner than every other team's because they've got that Hall of Fame game. They've got the extra preseason game. Blessing and a curse. Blessing because we get our guys reporting to camp a little bit early. Curse because, well, you don't really want to play a fourth preseason game. But hey, that's just the way the cookie crumbled. We're going to work some Michigan football in a little bit later because they are on a heater right now in terms of recruiting. Sharon Moore kind of on fire. Whether or not he's going to be coaching for the team week 1, still up in the air. But in terms of what he's doing, cutting checks, recruiting people to come play for the Maize and Blue, kind of on fire right now. But we're going to start out today with this team, the Detroit Pistons. If you're watching on YouTube, you see I'm pointing to a Bad Boys poster behind me from when they won the title. So here's the situation. This is forever going to be known as the offseason where Malik Beasley absolutely effed over the Detroit Pistons. It threw a complete wrench into the Pistons offseason. It threw a complete wrench into the Pistons offseason plan when it became public that Malik Beasley was being investigated for some gambling-related issues. Completely screwed over the Pistons. They've got to make a new plan in a matter of 24 hours. And I'm just going to be honest with you, this new plan that they had to come up with, I do not love. Yesterday and the day before, the Pistons have signed Caris LeVert and Duncan Robinson, 2 Michigan guys. Here's my issue. It feels like right now the Pistons are very much committed to Jaden Ivey having an enormous role next year. I'm okay with that in a vacuum. What I'm not okay with is you committing to Jaden Ivey and then surrounding him with players that cannot play with him. Duncan Robinson comes in, who's, first of all, is not as good as a player as Malik Beasley was. Yet they gave him more money than he was than reportedly Malik Beasley was going to get. Now, part of that's because it's weird because you had to sign and trade him rather than just sign him in free agency. So there's a little bit of a weird contract thing. But regardless, the fit for Duncan Robinson, I despise. This is a guy who has fallen apart in each of the last 2 playoffs, lost his shooting touch on the outside, and also just got played off the floor because he is a disaster defensively. Jaden Ivey also somewhat of a disaster defensively. So if you're going to commit to Jaden Ivey for the long term, which they haven't yet, they haven't given him this extension, but if you're going to treat this offseason as we're going to let our guys internally develop, we're not going to go after a big star and make a big move because our big move is bringing Jaden Ivey back, well, then you can't go sign players or bring players in that you cannot play with Jaden Ivey. That's where I get a little bit concerned because a backcourt of Jaden Ivey and Duncan Robinson, unless your goal is to throw out the worst defensive backcourt in the NBA, then you have a serious issue. Like, you can't play Ivey and Duncan Robinson together. You just can't do it unless you're asking the other team's guards to torment you for those minutes. I don't hate Duncan Robinson. I hate the fit here with Detroit because here's what Detroit has laid out. Our plan is to build around Cade, Ivey, Asar, let our young guys develop. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is bringing in players that don't fit into that situation. Yes, you needed a floor spacer. Yes, you needed shooters because you lost your 2 best shooters. But I would have rather just brought back Tim Hardaway Jr. Obviously, would have rather brought back Malik Beasley. But again, this just resorts back to this is going to be known as the offseason in which Malik Beasley effed over the Pistons. How long do we get to say this for? I don't know. But right now, like, the more removed we get from finding that out, the more the implications seem to grow. Because if we're sitting here and 2 days after free agency starts and, hey, they re-signed Malik Beasley and they got Caris LeVert, it's like, all right, lost out on Tim Hardaway Jr., lost out on Dennis Schroeder, we're going to be all right. But the fact that you lose out on all 3 of your vets and replace them with 2 players that are significantly worse than those 3 vets in Duncan Robinson and Caris LeVert, I don't feel great. And do the Pistons have could they have done anything to have title aspirations in this offseason? No. I'm pumping the brakes on that. But the role players are worse than they were last year right now. That's where I get a little bit concerned. Because the year that Cade Cunningham finally jumps into superstardom was the year that you surrounded him with good role players, good veterans. I don't know if that's necessarily the case anymore. Look, Duncan Robinson, you know exactly what you're getting from him. This is a guy who comes in as one of the top three-point shooters in the league notoriously. But again, the last 2 playoffs he's been in, his minutes have significantly shrunk and he's only hit 28% of his threes. Because he gets run off the floor. Boston did it. Cleveland did it. They find Duncan Robinson and they bully him. He can't be on the floor for extended periods of time because of the lack of defense. And they already have a player in their backcourt in Jaden Ivey who causes those types of concerns. I don't see how you can throw those guys out on the floor together at all this upcoming season. If you're going to commit to Jaden Ivey in the long term, you have to make sure that he is the worst defender on the floor. And they brought in another defender here to replace Malik Beasley, who is worse than Jaden Ivey. Trajan Langdon's back was against the wall. He had to come up with a new plan, basically with the snap of a finger because of this Malik Beasley situation. I don't love this backup plan. And I'm not sure I have a better one for him because of how unprecedented these circumstances were. And if he would have had more time to come up with a different plan, maybe this plays out a lot differently. But again, Malik Beasley effed over the Pistons 2 years ago before he even suited up in a Detroit uniform when he alleged, potentially had something to do with this gambling scandal that he's currently being investigated in. And the more we get removed from that, and the more we find out, it's like, hey, he owes this guy money, he owes this guy money, he's not paying his rent, he's not paying barbershops. Malik Beasley might be in some deep trouble. And I wouldn't be totally shocked if he's never playing in an NBA game again, which is unfortunate because he was about to make himself a lot of money this offseason. He was on maybe the best contract in the NBA last year. 1 year, $6 million. Had one of the best three-point shooting seasons in league history. And again, the offer that the Pistons reportedly had out there for him was $42 million, 3 seasons. Now guess how much he's probably going to make this offseason? $0. $0. Because he's being investigated by not only the NBA, but the feds for this gambling investigation. I don't know. It's fishy. I don't like it. If he was involved with it at all, I don't think he should ever be allowed to play again. But now 3 days removed from finding all this out, the implications of it and the magnitude and ripple effect that it's having here on the Pistons offseason, I'm becoming increasingly more frustrated with his actions from 2 years ago because it's screwing over the Pistons. And I don't like the moves that they've made after that. I don't think they make sense, Kyle.
I agree with you that they don't make sense. And it's in a part where, they do make sense because they had to replace what they lost, and that was shooting, guard play, and scoring off the bench. Now, obviously, they might not have done that in the ways that we wanted, but what else were they supposed to do?
Exactly.
And that's kind of the part that I've been struggling with because at first I was just upset with Trajan Langdon. Like, man, the East is wide open, man. The Pistons had a chance to run it back like everything was talked about or improve the roster, and they decided to do neither, right? They're not running it back, and the roster is actually worse. But how is that his fault? Duncan Robinson or Caris LeVert aren't on this team if Beasley's gambling stuff doesn't happen.
Agreed. Definitely not both of them.
I would say neither of them, honestly, because Beasley just supplied that three-point shooting to such a high standard. For them to lose all 3 of their vets from last year, even Tim Hardaway, I know he was the worst one, but I just figured he would be back in a Pistons jersey. Instead, they get 2 other Michigan guys that, look, they're going to bring some value to the team, but it's just so frustrating that this is the way the offseason has gone. In the season that the Pistons finally leap out of being such a joke in the NBA, and Cade Cunningham has solidified himself as a superstar, and the Eastern Conference is more open than it's been in our lifetimes, you would think at least. And the Pistons had a chance to be one of the better teams in the conference. Not saying that they can't, but man, it's hard to view that they can now.
Malik Beasley screwed over this team in a way that I don't think I fully wrapped my head around on Sunday when we got that news.
I didn't either because a lot of the times with this stuff, even with the Terry Rozier stuff, with the Jamison Williams stuff, the team knows about this before it gets publicly stated most of the time.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Pistons did on this one.
They clearly didn't, which is very frustrating.
Unfortunate situation that the Pistons find themselves in. And with where the Pistons are drawing up their plan for moving forward, I think it kind of centers around Jaden Ivey. They're not going to, go out and buy a superstar via their picks because they want to see what the team looks like with Jaden Ivey. They're not going to go sign one of these top-notch free agents because they want to see what their team looks like in Jaden Ivey. I think the reason that they didn't go find another shooter outside of Duncan Robinson is because, they want to see what they have in Jaden Ivey, who was 40% from outside last year, granted on minimum attempts. It kind of seems like the Pistons' plan to take another step forward right now completely revolves around Jaden Ivey. Does that make you somewhat uncomfortable? Because I still have a lot of questions revolving around Jaden Ivey and whether or not he's the guy to fit next to Cade Cunningham in the long term. 989-837-6125. It is officially the summer months. Midland's go-to spot for all your gardening needs is Maple Hill Nursery. From vibrant flowers and shrubs to trees and seasonal plants, they've got your garden covered. Expert advice from local growers who care about your success as much as you do. Quality plants, quality soil, and all the tools you need to make sure your yard blooms. Stop by Maple Hill Nursery to get inspired and grow something beautiful this season. Find them right here in Midland, your garden's new best friend. So Wednesday, we're giving away Detroit Tigers tickets in the 10 o'clock hour. But right now, I need to know from the people out there if you feel comfortable with how much the Pistons are investing in Jaden Ivey. Because right now, it feels like their entire game plan for the offseason is Ivey's coming back. We don't really need to go make a splash move. Okay, if that's your plan, why is Duncan Robinson on this team? Because those two guys cannot play together. 989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show right here on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
From making athletic footwear stronger and lighter to powering the future of electric racing vehicles, material science and R&D are the MVPs of innovation. At Dow, we collaborate with customers and partners to tackle a wide range of sports product challenges with cutting-edge advancements in technology. Dow's innovations can help to improve performance and sustainability throughout the world of sports. Dow, at the intersection of sports and science.
Hey everyone, Brad Tunney here with The Mitt. And I want to talk to you about my friends over at Maple Hill Nursery, one of the great local family-owned businesses in our region for over 40 years. Now, their specialty is in landscaping with expertise and high-quality trees, plants, and shrubs. They're also a full stocking dealer of Dairy Dew, and they've got polywood furniture. Now, I've got it all over my backyard. It's maintenance-free and long-lasting and comes in 18 different colors. Stop by Maple Hill Nursery, just 2.5 miles north of the Midland Mall on Eastman.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular Fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball. It's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters?
Yeah.
100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today, and you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
Bel Air Brown, Dragon's Milk, Mad Hatter, Purple Gang, and Huma Loopalicious. These are names that let the imagination run wild and let the taste buds take a stroll. Welcome to the craft beer craze in Michigan. Bolstered by the Great Lakes and nurtured by the glacier-rich soil, here awaits a brewer's paradise. With fresh hops growing tall in the old Mission Peninsula and fresh barley fields sweeping the mitten, Michigan ranks 5th in the nation in the number of breweries, microbreweries, and brew pubs. From Good Harbor Golden to Whitefish Bay Wheat, from Motown Lager all the way to Park Bench Porter, Michigan is serving up a frosty glass of perfection. Whether you want to take in a game with a two-hearted ale or just sit on a front porch sipping a Steelhead Red, let's tap into life at its fullest and treat ourselves to a taste that's pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, just to put this out there, we've got multiple people in the YouTube, multiple people on our text message chain. You guys can text in on the Mitt messages at 989-837-6125. Multiple people telling us to put Sophie Cunningham in her place. That's at 10 o'clock. But for now, it's Jaden Ivey. It's do you feel comfortable with how much stock, how much the Pistons are really investing in Jaden Ivey? Because to me, I still have a lot of questions about Jaden Ivey and whether or not he's the foundation of this piece, or the foundation of this team next to Cade Cunningham, if that makes sense. Couple texts here. First from Dwayne, who pretty sure told us yesterday he was never going to listen to the show again. But here's Dwayne. I don't feel comfortable with Duncan Robinson and Caris LeVert's contracts. Duncan plays no defense, and Caris is a walking injury. Trajan rushed this, but Malik has screwed up the Pistons' plans. Yeah, the bottom line is I'm not mad at Trajan Langdon. Did he respond like in the best way possible? I don't think so, but I don't have a better plan is where I come in and
right, he could have done
myself.
nothing.
Yeah, he could have done nothing, which would have been worse than getting Duncan Robinson and Caris LeVert, because at least these are tradable contracts. But again, with the investment they're putting into Jaden Ivey, in terms of I'm not making an offseason move because we're bringing back Jaden Ivey, you just brought in at least one guy who cannot play with him in Duncan Robinson. That's why I don't like that deal. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter what team we're talking about. I'm not a big Caris LeVert guy. There's probably not a situation or a team out there that would have signed Caris LeVert and be like, oh, good job by that team. Just not a fan of his game. We've got another text here. Love the 313 bad boy swag. Solid. Maybe the sweatshirt. Maybe watching.
I would assume that's what it is, yeah.
Good stuff.
Looks fire.
Michael in the chat says Pistons already said they weren't going to make any major moves. The money seems high, but in today's NBA, they are a bargain, short-term deals that can be used in trades to match salary. So,
yeah, it is worth noting with the Robinson contract, it's not a real 3-year, $48 million deal. It's essentially a 1-year contract worth $16 million. Year 3 is fully non-guaranteed. Year 2 is partially guaranteed. They just had to sign him to the 3-year deal because of the sign-and-trade part of things. Simone Fontecchio going to Miami in the deal.
Oh, so glad I never have to watch Simone Fontecchio again. So I actually did have an idea with Ivey in terms of a somewhat commitment to him, because they're going to have to make a decision here pretty quickly. And when I say quickly, I really mean in the next calendar year with him and Jalen Duren. And I'm looking around the rest of the league, and you know what team is kind of emerging right now as maybe the next team to jump into that contender tier is the Houston Rockets. I think everything that they've done over the past 2 years has been pretty brilliant, from their Amen Thompson draft pick to Sengun a few years before that. Jabari Smith giving him the extension a little bit early. And you know who else they did that with is Jalen Green, old foe of Cade Cunningham's. What they did with Jalen Green I thought was fascinating, because whereas most teams kind of just default to giving their rookie a max extension and waiting this thing out, they gave Jalen Green an extension, but didn't give him the max by any means necessary. It was like a half commitment to him. 3 years, $105 million. That's what they gave to Jalen Green. Now, in today's NBA, that was 2 off seasons ago. This offseason, we've realized not everyone's going to be making as much money as a few years ago. Julius Randle, 3 years, $100 million. Less than Jalen Green, but obviously Julius Randle's a significantly better player than Jalen Green. The problem that teams are now running into is there is basically a hard cap with this second apron. Luckily, the Pistons are below the second apron and below the first apron, and if they were to sign Jaden Ivey to a 3-year extension right now, basically a commitment to him, but not going all in, they'd still be under that first apron right now, which means they'd still get that mid-level exception. They wouldn't have to pay a tax. You could half commit to Jaden Ivey today or halfway through the season when you see him bounce back, and then he all of a sudden becomes a tradable contract if you decide this isn't the route that we want to build the team around. Basically exactly what Houston did with Jalen Green. They half commit to him and then decide, you know what? Not our guy. Move him off. It's a way to guarantee you're not just going to walk into forcing yourself to give him the max, because if you don't do it this year and you wait until next offseason, all of a sudden teams can start offering him contracts and you basically have to match it if you're the Pistons, or you lose him for nothing. If you give him this short-term commitment, 3-year deal, let's say $90 million under this new CBA, $30 million a year, you're still under that cap. You committed to him short-term. He's still a tradable contract. And if you decide this isn't the route that you want to go in terms of building a championship team, that's okay, because someone's going to be willing to take that contract because it'd be a team-friendly deal. And for Jaden Ivey, it's like, has he earned a $90 million contract? I wouldn't say so. So why wouldn't you just sign up for that immediately? That's like the Pistons almost doing you a favor after missing 52 games last year with a broken leg. They're going to give you $90 million coming off a broken leg. Sounds like a win-win for both teams to me.
Well, yeah, and you do what the Rockets did, and if it doesn't work out, now you have a $30 million salary to trade, to upgrade to a player that is, worth making that money, like they did with Kevin Durant. It is worth noting, though, with the rookie extensions, they can't extend him during the season next year. It's either this offseason
Good point.
Or he's a restricted free agent. So it's kind of either now or nothing type of thing. It's a similar situation to where Jonathan Kuminga is right now with the Golden State Warriors, right? He is a restricted free agent, one of the few true restricted guys that made it to restricted free agency. Same with Josh Giddey, but it sounds like he's going to go back to Chicago. So I like your point here. We've talked about this over the last couple of weeks of Ivey and Duren are both eligible for that rookie extension this offseason. You'd be kind of shocked if both of those guys went into restricted free agency a year from now, right? I mean, that's kind of a risky play from the Pistons to not re-sign either one of them. I think Ivey's the more likely guy despite coming off the injury.
Especially in today's NBA where it doesn't feel like, and when I say today's NBA, I mean like it's just so different than it was even 2 years ago with this new CBA.
Yeah.
There's this hard cap. You got to manage your cap and your roster better than really ever before, because you used to just be able to go over the cap, pay the tax, whatever. Now there's such restrictions on if you go over that second apron that there essentially is a hard cap. And there's a few teams that are over it right now that are constantly looking to shed salary. Luckily, the Pistons are under the hard cap. They're under the soft cap as well, which means they can give Ivey this extension and
yes, and he would still be on his rookie deal next year too. It wouldn't kick in until the following season.
Correct. 989-837-6125. You comfortable with this idea of the Pistons building around Jaden Ivey in the long term? We'll get to some more Mitt messages coming up in a little bit. And again, saw some people talking about it both on the texts and in the YouTube chat. Yes, we are going to get to Sophie Cunningham in the 10 o'clock hour. Before that, let's hit the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
Yeah, Ben, we had some crazy news happen during the show yesterday. No breaking news yet.
And on Monday. With that Steelers
and on Monday,
trade.
yeah, the last 2 days. It's been a pretty crazy day of news. Nothing breaking so far. Let's talk about the Tigers, though, for the first time today. Yesterday's game postponed. I mean, what has been going on this season with the weather that the Tigers have been hit with, man?
They must be doing
doubleheaders.
They must be doing rain dances before trying to get these games delayed. Because what is this now? 5 consecutive series where they've either been in a delay or in a postponement? I guess they didn't have any this weekend.
Right.
But like 5 of the last 6 series, there's either been a game delayed or postponed.
Just crazy. And it's been beautiful here in Michigan. But of course, as soon as they leave, rainy down in D.C. So a doubleheader today. Game 1 at 1:05, Tyler Holton v. Trevor Williams. And then game 2 will be at 6:45. So a little bit of a break between 2 games. Flaherty versus Mackenzie Gore in game 2.
Yeah, but is Tyler Holton just an opening game 1?
I would assume he's opening for Sawyer Gibson-Long, yes. Yeah. Nothing has been confirmed yet. I would assume this is the case, though. So we'll see. But Flaherty did get moved from game 1 to game 2. Tigers, though, 2 games today. Big news coming from Wimbledon. We talked about it yesterday, a huge upset. Even bigger upset happened yesterday. Coco Gauff losing in round 1, the number 2 ranked player in the world. She becomes just the 3rd woman in the Open era to lose in the first round at Wimbledon, right after winning the championship at the French Open.
That's... I don't know how, I don't know. I guess I don't have any crazy tennis thoughts, but What, you said the 2 and the 3 seed have both already lost?
Hot tennis takes for us.
No, I'm just getting into golf. Give me a couple more years. I'll get into tennis too. What'd you say? The 2 and 3 seed have both lost now?
Yeah,
on the
2 and 3 on the
things?
women's side. Both lost. Diana Yastremska is the one who defeated Coco Gauff. Unseeded, by the way.
You know, Coco Gauff played here in Midland like a few years ago.
Yeah, you've mentioned it a few times.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned
Pretty
that one
cool.
more time.
But it's, she lost though, so it's like, did Diana Yastremska play here? That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Right.
Okay, last night in the WNBA, the Indiana Fever winning the Commissioner's Cup, which is basically like the in-season tournament of the NBA. The NBA actually stole the idea from the WNBA. Fever didn't even have Caitlin Clark.
I know.
And they capped it off with a win. We got some more Indiana Fever stuff coming later in the show, though.
The Fever might be for real, man. This Caitlin Clark Fever jump into like contending might be for real.
And they didn't even have Caitlin Clark last night.
That I know. That's the
Look at
scary part
Boston,
about
been
it.
balling. Shohei Ohtani last night hit his 30th home run of the season. He ties Cody Bellinger for the most home runs by a Dodger before the All-Star break.
Goats do goats things.
Before the break?
For the break? Yeah, I would imagine so. Shohei Ohtani.
I'm just asking.
I'd say it's like minus 250 hits another one before the break. Probably. What do we got? Like 2 more weeks until the break?
Yeah, so is that going to be your lock of the day?
Not today.
Just pull it every day till it hits?
It's not good enough value. That's the thing. Because he's always
Right.
like plus 230 to hit a home run.
All right, we got Red Wings news. Just kidding. No, we don't. Not a ton of moves made by the Red Wings in day one of free agency yesterday. Even though the speculation of potentially something big coming, nothing major for Detroit.
They're going to have to get creative with this. Most of the free agents ended up going back to their teams, re-signing with their teams. They're going to have to get creative with some sort of trade if they really want to make a marginal upgrade this offseason.
We'll save the rest of the news for later, but we'll throw this thing in last. Damian Lillard obviously waived by the Milwaukee Bucks yesterday. The Warriors, Celtics, and Lakers are among the teams that have shown interest in signing a deal with Damian Lillard sooner rather than later. You would assume probably to a 2-year deal, being he likely won't play next season.
There's no way the Lakers are doing that. Why on earth would the Lakers do that?
Because they're the Lakers.
It's a good reason.
This is just what they do.
You're not bringing in an aging little guard to play next to, like a ball-heavy guard to play next to. He is a little guard. He's 6'2".
I know, it's just kind of a funny way to call him.
You're not bringing that guy in to play next to Luka when Dame's like a ball-dominant
They
guard.
literally have Kyrie Irving with Luka before.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love that idea.
Yeah. That's it.
Also, going to Golden State would be... That also wouldn't make any sense. You can't play him and Curry next to each other. That's a worse back.
Yeah, but remember that All-Star game, though, when they were both hitting half-court shots on the same team? That was cool.
Was it? It's like, are we really just like, we're just one-on-one pulling up at half court for the next few minutes? All right. 989-837-6125. We got a new MILB Top 100 prospects. And the Tigers, get this, they've got a new number 1 guy. Max Clark, no longer atop the list. Tell you who is when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Loons got July started with their best offensive performance of the season. A 9-run 6th inning, a 14-9 victory over the Whitecaps. Zaire Hope had himself a day, 2 doubles, 3 ribbies. This was a 2-run double in that 9-run 6th inning. Adam Metz to Hope. Swung on, hard hit up the right field line, and that one's gonna fall. One hopping the wall. George scores. DePaula hits third. Bobbled a bit by Lee in right. Sirota gets a late pause, and he'll go back. But Hope, with a ribby double, brings in 2. Absolute laser off the bat. 110. And 2 ribbies adding to his total, bringing him to 48 overall in the season. Great Lakes and West Michigan are back at it tonight. First pitch at 6:35. Our pregame starts at 6:20 here on 100.9 The Mitt. It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Logan Snyder from Bullet Creek High School. With a 3.94 GPA, Logan's a member of the varsity golf team, revitalizing a program that was dormant when he was a freshman 4 years ago. Logan great at golf and in the classroom, and also volunteers, including at the Midland Miracle Fields.
I love working with those kids, and it's always so much fun to see them getting to play the game we all get to love to play. Just getting to see them going up to bat, hitting the ball, no matter how far it goes, and they're just super excited. It just warms my heart every time.
Logan will be attending Ferris State in the fall and plans to study in their PGA Golf Management program. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themid.com.
Detours driving you bonkers? Ideal Party Store's got your back with the Detour discount. While the Lafayette Bridge is closed, enjoy 10% off select craft beer 6-packs and 10% off 4 bottles of select wine, 750 milliliters or more, with 2 great locations, 908 North Johnson on the east side and 401 Salzburg on the west side. Ideal Party Store makes every detour worth it. Serving Bay City since 1934, we're here to make you the life of the party.
Hey, did you guys catch anything yet?
Not a thing.
Bummer, neither have we. I'm actually just about to head into town. I'm going to go into Higher Standards Automotive. They got this award-winning service department with amazing technicians and this large parts department in case I want to fix it myself. They got the part there.
Whatever.
No, I'm serious, man. It's out there.
Yeah, just like when you tried to convince me Bigfoot was real.
Ray?
Bigfoot's behind me, isn't he?
Yeah, we got it. Run! Get out! Stop into Higher Standards Automotive, North Eastman Road in Midland, right past the mall.
At Tommy's Express, you can get your car clean, shiny and dry in just minutes. Our state-of-the-art eco-friendly wash delivers a spotless finish every time. With the Tommy Club app, enjoy unlimited washes or paper wash. Skip the line with license plate recognition and manage everything right from your phone. Fast, clean, and simple. Visit Tommy's Express today and see the difference. Text Clean Card to 86697 for a free works wash.
Offer valid for new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
We can't see tomorrow, but we can hear it. And it sounds like peace of mind, knowing our lakes will be better protected by placing Line 5 in the Great Lakes Tunnel. And that we've added extra safety measures while we work to build it, because we're committed to keeping the Great Lakes safe for generations to come. Tomorrow is on. Visit enbridge.com/line5 for more information. Enbridge. Life takes energy.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
(989-837-6125). Let's work in a couple Mitt messages. Why not? Ben, you are wearing a sweatshirt in the summer. Why? I love that sweatshirt, especially since you weren't close to being born during those days. It's a bad boy sweatshirt. I would love one of those sweatshirts or a shirt. Look out for me. The look out for me is kind of scary. Do I have to watch my back?
Yeah, I really want one of them sweatshirts. Look out for me. Is that a threat?
It might be. I don't know. I got it at the team shop, so you can get yourself one there, or I guess you could jump me in Midland. You think anyone's ever been jumped in Midland? I've never felt the threat of being jumped in Midland. I would assume at some point
it's happened, yes.
Kershaw going for 3,000 strikeouts tonight. That seems somewhat notable. That's from Austin, being a former Loon. And
that's sick.
One other comment in the YouTube chat says, "You guys are so young." Thank you.
Yeah, we're actually the youngest dudes ever.
Yeah. No, I'm actually 13 years old in a few years. But for now, I'm like 9. Just kidding. All right, that was a terrible joke. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so let's jump into this new MILB Top 100 rankings, because I've been like every single day checking this, waiting for the MLB to release their new updated Top 100 prospects, because I kind of figured with a few guys off the list now, Max Clark was going to drop, and he did. He did indeed. Max Clark not only dropped, but he is no longer the Tigers' #1 overall prospect. I'm going to read you two different guys' stat lines. Kyle, you tell me who is who. One of them is Max Clark. One of them is, well, a different person. Max Clark, 275 hitter so far this season. 842 OPS. Pretty good. 62 walks. Leads the Midwest League. 53 Ks. Next person. 382 batting average. 1,140 OPS. 1140. 19 walks, 17 Ks. So both these players walk more than they strike out. Both these players hitting over 275, but player B hitting 382 with an OPS of over 1,000, the new top prospect in the Tigers system. I think you know who it is, Kyle.
Yeah, Kevin McGonigle, man. Been absolutely a stud since returning from injury earlier this year for the Whitecaps.
He's played in about 32 games. He, to me, we're going to get another look at him this weekend. Vakari's down there right now calling Loons games in Grand Rapids. They come up to Midland this weekend for the 4th of July. Come on out. Come see
Huge
top
matchup,
prospects.
Man.
So
5 top 60 guys.
5 top 60 guys playing in this weekend, this whole week series, but they're up here this weekend. If you're a fan of baseball, just come out to the games. So everyone kind of understands what Max Clark is capable of. If he can be an average hitter in the big leagues, he's going to be a plus player because of everything else that he brings to the table. He's got the speed. He's got the defensive abilities. You could probably play center field right now for the Detroit Tigers. He can be a weapon on the base paths. He's got all the other stuff. But McGonigle, when he's in that, a 380 hitter through 30 games. He started the year, he played one game, got pulled from it early, got sent down to Lakeland to rehab. 30 games hitting 382 with an OPS of over 1,000 in this league. Like, we're so lucky that we're even getting these guys at this point in the season coming to Midland, because we looked at the schedule as soon as it came out before the season started, and it was like Max and Kevin aren't going to be here by the time 4th of July weekend rolls around. But the Tigers are in no rush to move these guys up. They're having a historic season down there in West Michigan, even though the Loons beat them last night. And it's just been a dominant season from those two guys, and Briseño, who leads the Midwest League in home runs. With the trade deadline coming up, and the Tigers in a market to where they're going to have to be buyers, they now have not one but two guys that maybe are viewed as untouchable in their organizations. You guys know how I feel about that. I don't think anyone should be untouchable, and if it means that you can get someone to help you win now, I'm going to be okay with it. But Kevin McGonigle has been so good this season that everyone around, minor league baseball has skyrocketed him up the MILB prospect rankings to the point where he has now jumped Max Clark, is the number 7 prospect, Max Clark 12. And suddenly the Tigers are looking at 2 top 15 guys and Briseño, who's not far behind that. This is a loaded farm system with some high-end, top-end talent where guys that you didn't expect are flying up the list even quicker than when anyone anticipated in Kevin McGonigle. Everyone talks about, well, the Tigers, shortstop still not really solved. It's a rotation between Javi Baez, Trey Sweeney, Zach McKinstry. Feels like we're just waiting for McGonigle to really get to the big leagues. I don't know if that's next year or the year after, but that kind of seems like the guy that is inevitably going to take over that spot once Javi Baez's contract is up.
Yeah, that's the part that we talked about the last couple of weeks on this show as far as who I really don't want to trade when that was a topic a couple of weeks ago. McGonigle's that guy, man. That spot is his. That shortstop spot is his for the foreseeable future, probably starting in 2027 when he comes up, assuming he's not up at all next season. So, yeah, he's just been – that's the part about Scott Harris that you've kind of talked about. He kind of – guys that in Al Avila era have been pretty successful under him. Like, how much credit can we give to him? This is the credit we can give to him. The development that he has had in the farm system. Now, obviously, none of these guys are in the big leagues yet, so you can't give them, all the credit in the world because they have to work out. But we've never seen this, man. You and I, as Tigers fans.
No.
The best farm system in the league.
Well, the closest thing we've seen to this one when Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson were both top 5 prospects.
Which was super cool.
Which was awesome, and now it's great that they're up in the big leagues. But
the depth of the farm system now is just unreal.
With Bryce Rayner, another shortstop at 41, the rookie from last year's draft, Jose Briseño, who leads the Midwest League in OPS, first base catcher type of guy, also going to the Futures game. at 58, which I thought he would have been even higher, but considering he was in the 80s the last time that this list came out, pretty insane improvement. And then Tyrone Lorenzo, former Loon, now Whitecap, sitting at 88. So still 5 guys in the top 100, and then 5 guys that are going to be playing at Dow Diamond this weekend. This is going to be, like, I don't just say this because I'm trying to get you to sell tickets or buy tickets to come to Dow Diamond.
If you like baseball, it shouldn't matter.
It is very, very rare across any level of baseball. High A, triple A, like, it doesn't matter. 5 top 100 guys sharing the field together.
The top 2 in each of the Dodgers and Tigers system, plus the Tigers number 4 guy.
It just simply doesn't happen.
Just think about 5 years from now. You could be able to say, like, yeah, I got to see these guys play in the same game.
Like multiple major league all-stars.
Like if they end up becoming studs, with Zaire and Josue both here with the Loons.
Princeño, Clark, McGonigle, all 5 of the guys are being sent to the Futures All-Star Game, which means Major League Baseball thinks they're going to be all-stars in the future.
Which is across all the minor leagues, by the way. It's not just the high A. It's double A, triple A, everything.
So in the wise words of Anthony Edwards,
bring your ass
to Dow Diamond this week. 989-837-6125. Hey, Kyle has a pretty cool announcement when we come back. But before we take a quick time out, if you are looking to move, because I am right now, you got to check out Matt Smith of Modern Realty. Redefining real estate with a fresh, modern approach, whether you're buying, selling, or investing, Matt Smith delivers the personalized service tailored to you. Cutting-edge marketing, local expertise, and a commitment to making your real estate experience as smooth and successful as possible. From cozy starter homes to luxury properties, they know how to find you the perfect fit. Trust the team that combines innovation and real-world know-how. That is Matt Smith of Modern Realty. We'll be right back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt's Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Mary Draves, former Dow executive and leader in the Midland community.
I think as we get a little bit older, we start to care less about what other people think.
That's really a great point, yeah.
And so as I've gotten older, I think I've become way more comfortable in who I am and what I stand for. And, you know, when you get to that point, all of a sudden, you know, you become less apologetic about who you are. You also, you know, you're like, hey, this is me, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
And I think in my 20s versus maybe I'm in my 50s now, it's a very different person. And that's just really part of the continuum of growth.
Listen to the full interview with Mary on 100.9 The Mitt's YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford.
At First Class Epoxy Floor and Counter, floors don't just get coated, they get a makeover. Epoxy's so tough, it shrugs off spills, stains, and even your wildest dance moves. Garages, workshops, anywhere you want a floor that's smooth, shiny, and just a little bit sassy, they handle it all with style. No more boring floors. Get ready to impress everyone who walks through the door. Slide into durability and flair. First Class Epoxy Floor and Counter, where your floors get the VIP treatment they didn't know they needed.
Suit up, Sea Captain. At Dive and Glide in Midland, we've got all the gear you need to make a splash. Flippers that fit like a glove, masks that show you the underwater magic, and tanks ready to fuel your next adventure. Whether you're snorkeling the local lakes or dreaming of ocean depths, Dive and Glide has your back and your fins. Find us on Cambridge Street or swim over to diveandglideinc.com. Dive and Glide, making waves one splash at a time so you can dive deeper than ever before.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman Night at Dow Diamond on Saturday, July 12th. The first 1,000 fans through the gates will receive an exclusive Super Lou E bobblehead courtesy of My Michigan Hell. Create a lasting memory after the game as you take in Fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't miss this super night of fun. Get your tickets at loons.com. We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeland, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Looms. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader. You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic? Yeah. We've got them on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt. From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford. From Frankenmuth, Freeland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning. 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesaning, or Coleman. Football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader.
All right, folks, let's get started. Parents, thanks for coming. As many of you know, I'm Coach Mather. Tonight I want to talk about the season, of which I only have one expectation, that everybody gets stronger. When I say get stronger, I'm not referring solely to physical strength. Sure, we'll be in the weight room, we'll be running stairs, but we're also going to focus on developing mental toughness and grit, because those are the characteristics that allow us to achieve greatness both on and off the court. So, how do we develop those things? By getting comfortable with a challenge, by cultivating the confidence necessary to overcome adversity in all forms. That's why I coach. That's my purpose. Every member of this team can lean on me, and I'll teach them how they can lean on themselves and each other.
This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, we'll get to the Sophie Cunningham thing in about 15 minutes. We've got our Tigers giveaway in about 30 minutes. Again, every Wednesday this summer, we're giving away Detroit Tigers tickets. This Wednesday, it's going to be for next Saturday's game against the Mariners. That's coming up at 10:15 for Big Win Wednesday. But before that, Kyle, you've got a special announcement for everybody. I'll let you take over, man. This is really exciting stuff.
I moved to Midland. I officially spent my last night in Midland last night.
Your first night?
Yeah, man. Don't have to, well, yeah. Oh, right, yes. I don't have to make the long trek every day now, multiple times a day during Loon's home games. So, yeah, I'm super excited, man.
You're officially, I guess I don't know what people who live in Midland would be called. Midlandites?
From the M.
Yes. You know? Yes. Well, okay, here's what we can do. First of all, glad you're here. Glad to have you. I'm sure everyone in the audience can also reciprocate that. What questions you have about living in Midland? You've worked here for a couple of years.
Right.
And I remember making the move over. What questions you have about living here? Because it is a very exciting move. Like, I don't know, the first week I spent here, the first month I spent here when I was solo, I just had the time of my life just exploring everything.
My biggest question is, what Wi-Fi do I get?
Okay, that's not something I can answer. I have no idea.
That's what I'm saying, because I don't know who to hook up with.
Ask John Vicari.
Yeah, I'll ask him that. No, I mean, I really, off the top of my head, I don't have many, like, where's the best places to ride my bike around at, other than, like, downtown?
Hop on the trail.
See, like, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, there's a trail that connects downtown all the way up to where, like, I live, and then it goes all the way to Sanford. I guess I don't know how far south it goes. I think it might go to Bay City. Trail, always a good spot.
Okay. How about outdoor basketball courts? Where's the best ones?
So up by
big outdoor
Dow
basketball
High School. Up by Dow High School, right next to this little like pop-up coffee stand, there's an outdoor court at a park. I play there all the time. Good
Solid
stuff.
court.
Solid court. I've never run into like good
I don't really
competition.
care about the court. How
there.
about the hoops?
The hoops are fine. Like good nets, not a double rim.
Not a double. Okay, that's all I need to hear.
It's a perfectly fine court. I've never been there and all of a sudden, like, we had good runs going. Like, usually I'm the
I don't
only
really care
one
about
there.
the runs. I mean, I like playing solo, honestly.
I was playing there last week, and I had my AirPods in, was shooting around, and there was 2 kids on the other side of the court without a ball. And I could see them talking to each other and looking over on my side, and I was like, are they, like, I think they're asking me to play or something, or trying to, like, figure out what to ask. So I took my AirPods out. I was like, what's up? And they were like, can we play with you? And I was like, yeah, sure. These kids were like 12. And they were like, are you the guy from the Loons? I was like, yeah, I'm the guy from the Loons. So then they pull up with 6 of their friends, and they were like, we're playing you 6-on-1. So I played these. No. Oh, no.
6v1, they couldn't beat you, bro?
They were 12.
Yeah, 12 is like better than 4.
They were okay. How about this? They were 12, and I'm awesome at basketball.
Okay, man. That was. Look, 6 12-year-olds should be able to beat one person.
Oh, I agree, but they didn't.
Okay.
Maybe in your first week or so here, you come and we'll play them 12-on-2 and see if we can.
Okay,
we can take
see
them.
that's different. I
They
think
can
once you
double
have
up.
2 guys, you can beat any group of kids.
They had 2 more. It could have been 8, and they had 2 more guys that didn't want to play at all. But yeah, those courts are good. There's courts outdoor at the Midland Community Center. I've never played at those ones, but really nice, like, you know, those tile outdoor courts that have the plastic tile 3-point line thing. Those seem nice, but I've never played there.
Because my go-to court that I went to where I lived previously, the nets got like stolen or something.
Yeah.
And so I was rocking no net.
No, you can't.
Oh, man.
No, that's worse than double rim.
I agree. It's worse than double rim.
That's worse than bad ball. No nets has got to be the
No net
worst
is
way
the
to play
worst.
basketball.
Yes, I agree. No net is, I mean, you still will play, but man.
You don't realize how
We already
beneficial
talked
the
about this
net
before, I think.
On the Ben Bosscher show?
I think so. I think I was buying stock on or selling stock on no net hoops or something.
You don't realize how impactful the net is until you play without it. Because you make a basket and there's just no rhyme or reason
And you have
for
to
where
just
it
chase
goes.
after the ball too, because the net doesn't like stop it.
Yes.
And it's like, did I make that? Pretty sure I made that.
What are your thoughts on chain nets? Like chains.
Chain nets are cool.
I like that sound it makes.
Yeah,
but I get
it's a
scared
cool
to go
sound.
up and like go towards the rim because if your fingers get caught in it, all of a sudden
that
you could
would
be
hurt,
in danger.
obviously.
You could be in danger of losing a phalange.
Right.
We're-
Yes.
I don't know any other courts besides those 2. We got to get some runs going up at the one over by where I'm
Yeah.
at. Because
I'm in.
You know what? This is actually a PSA. This is turning into a PSA. We got to come up with a time and a place, and just anyone who wants buckets, anyone who wants the smoke, yeah, we'll hand them out. Up at I don't know the name of that park. I should probably find that out, but it's up by Dow High School.
Okay. Say it's the last time I was challenged to 1v1 is much different than your story. You were challenged by kids. I was challenged by a Division I basketball player who is now transferred to a Big Ten school. So
did you win?
No, I did not. But I played. I challenged in one of the games.
Did he ask you to play, or did you ask him to play?
Yes, he asked me.
Oh, so he was just like. I've never understood the people who are like a D1
This guy was
basketball
also
player.
7 foot, by the way. Let me put that out there.
I guess I don't understand the D1 basketball player asking, like, just a random person, like, do you want to play one? Like, what is he working on?
Well, I think he
You
was.
know what I mean?
So we got a bunch of shots up after. So I think he was mainly just trying to get shots up, but like wanted to give me a reason to kind of do it.
Stick
So he
around.
was like, want to play first?
Yeah. I'll throw you a bone.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get the impression he was trying?
He was trying, but he was shooting more than driving.
Okay.
He probably could have taken it to the rack to me every single time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. We got someone in the chat, and then we'll get to the Sophie Cunningham things. Back in the day, they used to have the Art Neal Sports Challenge. One viewer each week would challenge you to a sport to win a prize. Oh my God.
Wow, the Ben Bosscher Sports Challenge?
I'm so in on this. I'm so in on
Shout out
this.
to Michael for the idea.
Hey, here's what we're going to do. 989-837-6125. Someone tell me a time, someone tell me a place, and someone tell me a sport. And we'll bring maybe a crew and film it or something.
As long as it's not golf.
As long as, but if it is golf, We'll just do it for vibes. I'll have a good time. But basketball, I'm down for any sort of challenge. All right, 989-837-6125. We've got our Detroit Tigers ticket giveaway in about 20 minutes, and we've got I don't know if I'd call it an awkward conversation, but a well-needed conversation after the comments that Indiana Fever Sophie Cunningham had to say about the city of Detroit. Hot topic right now. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the local job market. We're here in person. And we're locally owned, so you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at Spherion.com to find your local Spherion office. Let's get to work.
Tired of floors that snore? Walls that whisper, meh. Premier Tile in Midland is here to spice things up one tile at a time. They've got backsplash that'll make your pasta jealous.
What?
Shower walls that'll actually sing in the morning. And floors so fabulous, you'll consider eating dinner off them. Stylish, affordable, slightly obsessed with grout. Visit Premier Tile, located between Stark and Sturgeon, right off US 10, or at premiertilestone.com.
In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call on someone who's invested in your success. I'm Kevin Spencer, your Midland Edward Jones financial advisor. At Edward Jones, we believe in building a complete picture of your financial life, including your unique goals and passions, so we can help you work towards achieving what's most important to you.
Contact Kevin Spencer today at 832-8428. 832-8428. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Get ready, Michigan. Field of Frames Fest presented by Dow is taking over Dow Diamond September 26th through 28th. It's the ultimate celebration of gaming, esports, and community, bringing together fans, families, players, and industry pros for a 3-day festival like no other. Watch elite teams battle in high-stakes competition, the Valorant Collegiate Invitational and Rocket League Semi-Pro Showdown, each with $10,000 prize pools, a $5,000 Super Smash Bros. Open Tournament, and a 17U Fortnite Youth Tournament with $1,000 up for grabs. There's live music, entertainment, and activities for all ages, plus educational panels and hands-on workshops for those interested in tech, business, and gaming industries. Tickets start at just $25, and kids 10 and under get in free. Don't miss your chance to be part of a landmark event. Visit fieldofframesfest.com to grab your tickets today. Field of Frames. Experience the element of gaming.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Michigan. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning, Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Sophie Cunningham and the Indiana Fever. Well, they won the Commissioner's Cup yesterday, but that's as crazy as this sounds. Not the biggest story from the Indiana Fever side of things. So obviously the news that Detroit is getting an expansion team in 2029, a few other cities as well. Sophie Cunningham basically said, I don't know why any player or if the fan bases of these cities are going to be excited for WNBA basketball. Look, I have a few different thoughts. First of all, anyone who says this is why your league isn't growing, could not be more false. Her saying this is part of the reason that the league is growing. That doesn't mean what she said is true. That doesn't mean what she said is accurate or smart or made her seem smart. Kind of made her seem dumb, and I'll get into that in a second. But regardless, we are talking about it, which means this league is growing, and she's doing her job in it. It's the same reason like people don't like Angel Reese. It's like, guess what? She's good for the league. She is. She's polarizing. She's to many people a villain, to many people a hero. She's good for the league because people talk about her. With Sophie Cunningham, though, man, what a 180 everyone had on her. This was like high approval rating, one of the more popular players in the league, and then any city that just got an expansion team, she basically just threw under the bus and said, we would have rather had a team in Miami. Way more fun city to be in. I don't disagree with that. Miami seems like a fun city. Like, I've been there once. Good time. But let's not pretend like Detroit's some dump, especially in the summer months. Let's not pretend like Detroit's some undesirable destination to be. This isn't, what Detroit used to be. This is a completely different city. And the fact that she said I have a hard time envisioning anyone being in Detroit excited for a WNBA team just shows that she's probably never been to Detroit and kind of shows an uneducated factor when it comes to this. Like, to put it in perspective, when the Detroit Shock existed from 2006 to 2008, they were the number one team in terms of attendance. So you can sit here and say that there wouldn't be a market or a desire or an excitement in these cities, but you saying that kind of makes you look like you have no idea what you're talking about and that you're uneducated on the topic, despite being a player and, should be one of the more reliable sources here. But you can't say that one of these cities isn't going to have excitement when they, for 3 consecutive seasons from 06 to 08, were the number one team in attendance in the WNBA before you took the team away and sent them to Dallas. So that would be one of my first thoughts. The second thought would be what I kind of already went over in terms of this isn't good for the league. This is why your league doesn't grow. No, this is exactly why the league grows, because the players say controversial things and then we talk about them. Eventually, it'll get to the point where we're just talking about the basketball, but that isn't where we are quite yet with the WNBA. Third of all, we posted on our Facebook that the WNBA was coming back to Detroit. Someone said, no one cares. False. You don't care. That doesn't mean everyone else doesn't care. Not everyone shares your thoughts for the person that commented that. My third thought would be something that Huge said yesterday on social media, not on the show. He said unless the Detroit team, and we don't know if it's going to be the Shock or not, but at this point I'd be shocked if it wasn't. Unless they trade for Caitlin Clark, this is irrelevant. And I could not disagree with that even more, anymore. This is like saying if you don't have LeBron back in like 09, 010, like 2010, your team's irrelevant. No one's going to top Caitlin Clark as long as she's in the league. Let's be clear about that. The Indiana Fever will always have an advantage in terms of popularity over every other team because they have her on the team. And probably finish her career in Indiana. Like, suggesting that this new Detroit WNBA team would need to trade for Caitlin Clark, it's just not happening. Why would the Fever ever trade her? Ever. In a million years. It sells tickets. They're the most popular team in the league. They're never going to, and not to mention, she's awesome. Really good at basketball. They're never going to trade her. But to say that there's never going to be another star like that sells the tickets, I think is also a little bit irresponsible because let's just face it, like we have this whole new wave of players coming in. Is anyone going to be as popular as Caitlin Clark? No. But we've got Juju Watkins coming. We've got Paige Beckers already in the league. There's going to be more superstars that come through the WNBA and get drafted that turn into stars. Because at the end of the day, winning is what gets cities excited. Winning is how you sell tickets. Yes, the superstar helps with that, but the superstar also translates to winning. We talk about in the NBA, I think we're trending away from a superstar league and more towards a roster construction league. And there's going to be a lot more reliance on the GM to kind of put something together rather than just luck his way into having a superstar and then that superstar carrying you to the NBA Finals. I think it's completely different in the WNBA, right? Where we are in the WNBA right now feels like where we were in the NBA in the 80s. Clark comes in, changes the game. Clark and Reese come in, change the game. Similar to the way Bird and Magic came in and just changed the way that we viewed this league for the rest of the time because you have the superstars. There's only going to be more superstars in this WNBA renaissance. So in order to, you're not going to just get Caitlin Clark to be on this Detroit team and that's the only way for it to be relevant. That's not true. But you can find the next superstar. And again, you win games, you build a team, people will come watch your team play. And 2006 to 2008 is a perfect example of that, when the Detroit Shock were the best team in the league, won a couple of championships, and had the number one attendance for the first 3 seasons, for those 3 seasons. So I'm looking at the attendance right now for the WNBA this season, and the Fever's actually, they're not even the number one selling team right now in terms of tickets. That would be the Golden State Valkyries, the new team in the WNBA. This was like their project child, right? They wanted to go all in on one expansion team and figure out how to do it before they add a handful of new expansion teams at the same time. Because when you do a bunch of teams at the same time, like they plan on doing in 28 and 29, that's how you can really screw up the dynamic of your league, because you spread the talent out too much, right? One team becomes horrendous. One team, like you got to make sure you still have some desirable teams and the talent's not stretched too thin. Because that's where the WNBA doesn't match the NBA in terms of depth. You have all the stars, you have all the top-end talent, but these 8th, 9th people on the bench, not really needle movers, if we're being honest. So they kind of go all in on making sure the Valkyrie are this brand new team, new arena, share it with Golden State, like all in on this team. They can't give that same sort of love and attention to multiple teams when they do an expansion, a mass expansion in 2028-29. So to expect the Pistons to jump to number one, I don't think is realistic. But Golden State Valkyries have shown you can go to number one and be the highest attended team right out of the jump. Fever number 2, Liberty at number 3, but right behind the Fever. Aces 11, Sparks 11 in terms of attendance. 2 of those teams don't have an NBA team in the Aces and Golden State. Right, and I think that's a big reason too why their city's attendance is just going to be a little bit better, right? The fans are drawn to them because they don't have another basketball team. Obviously, Detroit does, but I don't think that just because Detroit has a basketball team in the NBA means people will be less interested, because they're totally different seasons, right? As soon as the Pistons wrap up, the Detroit Shock come in, play some games in LCA. I don't know why people wouldn't be going to these. So everything that Sophie Cunningham said yesterday, I thought was like just, it came off as uneducated, which is ridiculous to say about a player who's plays in a league in which she's talking about. You know what I mean? Like, her thoughts should be more valid than anyone's in terms of where the players want to play. But her reasoning behind everything in terms of, I don't think it's in like a place that gets people excited. You're just flat out wrong for that. Maybe the players don't want to go to Detroit, but that's because you haven't been to Detroit. It's a desirable city to play in. It was number 1 in attendance. There is an audience there. At the end of the day, if you bring a team to a new city, you get people to show up by winning. That is it. You can have success in any market, other than maybe New Orleans, by winning. It's bottom line that. I thought what she said was somewhat reckless, but at the same time, it's got people talking, and that's all the WNBA should care about right now.
Isn't the whole point of like playing a sport is to do it in front of the fans? Like, Detroit is one of the best sports fan cities in the world. There's no doubt about that. It shows with every single sport, right? The team plays good. The fans are all in. And I just thought, because she said the same thing about Cleveland too. She just seemed out on the whole idea of expansion in general.
Yeah.
You know, just like, oh, yeah, it's cool they're expanding, but, like, they're kind of moving too fast, and they should have went to Nashville and Kansas City. Okay?
Nashville?
Like, I don't know. I just thought, like, I agree with you. A really weird statement to make when you literally play in Indianapolis. Like, you're close to Detroit. You're close to Cleveland. But those are bad spots?
Well, Indianapolis is interesting because Indiana is such a basketball state to where, like, everyone worships the Pacers and the Fever there. And part of that's obviously because Caitlin Clark is there. But, like, city for city, like, Indiana's not nicer than Detroit and Indianapolis.
No, Indianapolis is cool. I've been there a time or two.
It's not Detroit.
I like Detroit, yeah.
That's what someone in the Mitt messages is saying. Ben, here's also a key point. She plays her games in Indianapolis with, like, 13 exclamation points. Would you rather play there or in Detroit or in Cleveland? Give me a break. It's not like Indiana's as good of a hang as Miami or LA or Vegas or New York or Chicago. Terrible
Exactly.
Take.
It'd be different if she played for New York or Chicago or something. Her point would make a little bit more sense. Not really, but like it would make more sense in Indianapolis.
She's just picking party cities. Like, yeah, it'd be fun if we went to LA and Miami.
You should go to Nashville.
Like, okay. Yeah, that doesn't make any, like, there's a reason that there's no professional teams in basketball in national. Like, shouldn't you,
know
want
what?
to go?
Wait, why do we do the show in Midland? We should do it in Miami.
No, that's honestly a good point. We should just go. You should just pick it up and move to Fort Lauderdale right now.
And it's just the whole point of expansion is like, prior to Caitlin Clark joining the WNBA, the stars of college basketball were much bigger than the stars of the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
And those players are now entering the WNBA. So it's time to take full advantage of that while the ratings are skyrocketing and make this league even bigger and a broader audience, right? Isn't that the whole point? I don't get why she's out on the idea of expansion.
Well, when it happens too fast, the league can get diluted a little bit. And I think that'd be the reason behind it. But at the same time, like, you want to get this thing in as many cities as possible, and you want to put it in cities in which you think you can be profitable. Detroit has shown it can be a profitable city. When there's it was a successful WNBA organization back when no one was watching the WNBA, except my grandpa every night in the summer. And now that the WNBA has become what it's become, and it is only going to grow up, it's the fastest growing league in America right now, probably in the world. Why would you not put a team back in Detroit? It's somewhat embarrassing that they lost this team in the first place to Dallas. And now they've got a chance.
Tulsa, wasn't it?
It was to Tulsa, and then they moved to Dallas and became the Wings. It's somewhat embarrassing that they lost this team in the first place. So the fact that they have a chance to bring it back, what's the hesitation? I guess I'm confused by that, and it feels like Sophie Cunningham made those comments without actually thinking about it, without actually, in looking into it.
Knowing the history, yeah.
Or knowing the history of the league.
I just love how the city of Detroit has just completely gone at her on Twitter.
As they should.
Literally, the city of Detroit Twitter page went at her. Just an awesome love from the city.
Because she was saying things that were inaccurate.
Right.
I don't know if people are excited to watch WNBA at Detroit. Guess what? Number one team in attendance for 3 consecutive seasons when they were winning. You get fan bases to be excited by winning basketball games. It's as simple as that. 989-837-6125. All right, when we come back, we're giving away Detroit Tigers tickets and taking a trip around the league. Stay tuned. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Logan Snyder from Bullet Creek High School. With a 3.94 GPA, Logan's a member of the varsity golf team, revitalizing a program that was dormant when he was a freshman 4 years ago. Logan great at golf and in the classroom, and also volunteers, including at the Midland Miracle Field.
I love working with those kids, and it's always so much fun to see them getting to play the game we all get to love to play. Just getting to see them going up to bat, hitting the ball, no matter how far it goes, and they're just super excited. It just warms my heart every time.
Logan will be attending Ferris State in the fall and plans to study in their PGA Golf Management program. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themid.com.
At Sandy Ridge, our completely renovated clubhouse is ready for you. With a brand new full kitchen, a spacious deck, and plenty of room for any event, it's the perfect spot for weddings, parties, or any special gathering. And that's not all. Our whole 16 green has been redesigned and is better than ever. Plus, our greens are the truest around, on par with the top courses, but at a price that fits your budget. Come visit us today at Sandy Ridge and see why we're the perfect choice for your next event.
Hey Midland, join the Silver Sneakers and Renew Active programs at the Midland Community Center, where fitness for seniors is fun and free. With Silver Sneakers and Renew Active, seniors 65 and older enjoy access to Greater Midland Community Center, North Family Center, and Coleman Family Center, all at no extra cost with eligible Medicare Advantage plans. Dive into all group fitness classes, exclusive Silver Sneakers classes, and our Greater Midland Walking Club. Get moving with Silver Sneakers and Renew Active at the Midland Community Center.
Discover championship golf with amazing views at Apple Mountain in Freeland. Whether you're chasing birdies or just out for a relaxing round, Apple Mountain offers a stunning 18-hole experience for every skill level. Perfect greens, scenic fairways, and a course that plays as beautifully as it looks. Book your tee time now at applemountain.com. Apple Mountain. Golf elevated. Just minutes from Saginaw, but miles from the ordinary.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman Night at Dow Diamond on Saturday, July 12th. The first 1,000 fans through the gates will receive an exclusive Super Lou E bobblehead courtesy of My Michigan Health. Create a lasting memory after the game as you take in Fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't miss this super night of fun. Get your tickets at loons.com.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
I kind of still can't get over the idea of just picking the show up and moving it to Miami. I feel like this is what Sophie Cunningham wants us to do, so we may as well just do that.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, Miami not. Let's go to Dubai. You know? Let's really spice things up.
Do you think we can do it in Sweden? Do you think the connection? I think it would. I think we got some system to do it. We'd have to do it like at a weird time.
I mean, if it worked from the Dow Championship, it would work from out there.
That's probably true. All right, let's give some Tigers tickets away. Again, every Wednesday for the rest of the summer, we're giving away Detroit Tigers tickets at 10:15 a.m. For Big Win Wednesday, thanks to our friends at Garber Chevrolet Midland who make this possible. If you need a new car, go to Garber Chevrolet Midland. They make the process extremely easy. I went through it last summer, first time buying a car, and now I feel like an expert because they were able to help me out. So, with that being said, it's time to give away some tickets. You don't have to be the first person to text in. You don't have to be the last person to text in. You just got to text in to the number 989-837-6125. Again, it's 989-837-6125. It's Detroit Tigers versus Seattle Mariners tickets for a week from Saturday. They're on the road this week. So this is a week out in advance, a week and a half out in advance. The key word that you have to text in is Comerica. Text in Comerica to 989-837-6125. We will pick a winner here in the next 20 minutes or so. Until then, let's take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
All right, we're keeping it simple today, Ben. Yesterday, we did the one lingering question for each NFC team heading into training camp. Let's do the AFC today.
All right.
Why not? And then obviously I'm going to give you the team. You give me your question. I'll give you what the Athletic did.
Can I be completely honest with you? This one, I was a little bit busy, rushed this morning, so this one is truly off the dome. Yesterday, I wrote a bunch of them down, my questions. This one is truly going to be off the dome.
Okay, I'm excited for that. Let's start off with one of the best teams in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens.
Is our defense back to being one of the scarier ones in the league? Right? Like, I need the old school, I fear the Baltimore Ravens defense. With this secondary that they've put together here, in drafting Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton going into year 4, and then signing Jair Alexander and still having Marvin Humphrey. This has to be a scary secondary in order for this Ravens team to finally get over the hump, because we know what this offense is capable of. Last year, they were the worst fourth quarter defense in the league because you could throw all over them. They have to be improved this year. So my question would be, is this Ravens defense scary again?
Yeah, they kind of go that route. They said, did the Ravens do enough to improve in the trenches? But they're mainly talking about the defensive line because they obviously did improve in the defensive backfield. All right, let's talk about the Ravens' biggest rival, Buffalo Bills.
I'm tempted to say just like, can we beat Mahomes?
Can we beat the Chiefs?
Yeah, can we beat the Chiefs? That's what I'll go with.
Yeah, that's fair. They just go with, will James Cook do a hold-in without a new deal? Like, is James Cook going to play?
I think he will.
And honestly, I like James Cook. I have him in fantasy. If he holds out, is that really, altering the Bills' season?
I don't know. I think James Cook's a pretty good back. He's like B+ at everything.
I think he's fine, yeah.
Which is good. A-
They have
at something.
Ray Davis, who's a fine backup. I don't think it'd be the end of the world if James Cook
he
held out.
Tied for the most rushing touchdowns in the league last year.
But Jahmyr Gibbs, though.
Yeah, exactly. But Jahmyr Gibbs.
All right, Ben's favorite team, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Will the offensive line hold up? Can the O-line protect Joe Burrow?
Yeah, that's where they go. They say, can the Bengals add another vet at guard? So basically that.
Feels a little too late to be
surprising it's not a
guards.
Trey Hendrickson thing. Yeah, it does seem a little bit late. But maybe the Trey Hendrickson stuff is just... I mean, we got that report that he was gonna... The talks have restarted. That's over.
I give up on pretending what's going on with Trey Hendrickson. I'm kind of sick of talking about it, to be honest.
When next do we do the... Oh, is Trey Hendrickson going to be on the Lions?
Hopefully never again. No, now it's TJ Watt. Is he going to be a Lion?
Right. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns.
Who's starting at quarterback week 1? There's no way that's not it.
Yeah, it's what are the plans for the multiple quarterbacks?
God, I don't remember ever going into a season with any team where there was a quarterback competition as open as this one.
All right, give me ranked in order most snaps played at QB for the Browns this season.
Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel.
Really?
Yeah.
Flacco getting third. I agree with Pickett 1, even though Flacco might be the week 1 starter. Shedeur, though, too.
I don't know, man. He's getting up there. He's getting up there.
He definitely is. Okay, Denver Broncos.
Does Sean Payton trust Bo Nix enough to let him... How do I word this? To let him play off script. Because last season it felt like Bo Nix was one of the more protected quarterbacks in terms of play calling. Like, you're not allowed to make your own decisions. Here's what the read is.
A lot of 5-yard passes.
Yeah, a lot of stuff behind the line of scrimmage or just let it rip deep. Does Sean Payton trust Bo Nix enough to have him have a little bit more control of the offense would be my big question.
Okay. They kind of go a route that you're not going to love because it affects your boy. They say, how much will J.K. Dobbins provide for the Broncos offense? Implying that he might be the starting RB over rookie R.J. Harvey, who was drafted this year.
I think he will be to start out the year.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins is going to get hurt at some point.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the AFC South, the Houston Texans.
I think it's the same thing I said with the Bengals. Can we protect C.J. Stroud? This guy was under pressure, it felt like, every play last year. The offensive line was horrendous. It's got to be, can we protect C.J. Stroud?
Yeah, it's exactly where they go. Will a retooled offensive line better protect C.J. Stroud?
Yeah.
Also, can this team stay healthy? I think would be a good one as well. This wide receiver room specifically. Okay, keeping it in the same division. Indianapolis Colts.
Is Anthony Richardson a sunk cost? I think he might be, unfortunately. I was so high on this guy when he was coming through the draft process.
I still am, man. I'm not high, but I have hope.
I wish I could stay the same, but after watching the Lions just eviscerate that Colts team last year.
Remember the week 1 A-Rich last year, though?
Yeah, I do remember that.
When he went like 9 of 27, but all 9 passes were like
Bombs.
40 yards.
Bombs.
Yeah.
But then watching them for like sitting down and legitimately watching the Colts game last year when they played the Lions. So
he was bad.
It was like an achievement when they scored a first down or got a first down.
It was an achievement when they completed 2 passes in a row.
Right, yeah. I think there was 2 drives that entire game where they completed multiple first downs. It was like, aw, look at them go.
Oh, that's
as the Lions are seamlessly moving up and down.
Yeah, that
the
is
field.
where they go. They say, basically, they say, when will Anthony Richardson return from injury? In quotations, if at all. So, all right, same division. Jacksonville Jaguars. Ben's second favorite team? Question mark. You got a lot of guys you like on this team.
Third.
Okay.
Maybe fourth.
Who's
no,
second?
Probably third.
The Chiefs?
Yeah, the Chiefs.
Oh my God, dude.
I'd have to say it has to be something with Travis Hunter. Actually, no, it doesn't. I've all my questions about Travis Hunter I feel like are going to be answered in a positive way. My question is going to be, can Trevor Lawrence finally look like a number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, that's literally exactly what they say.
Oh,
how good can Trevor Lawrence really become? And immediately goes into how he was the number 1 overall pick. And
he
not
still
just
has
was he
all
number
the
1 overall
traits.
pick, but he was really hyped up prospect. Like one of the better quarterback prospects we'd seen in a long time.
And I still feel like he has all the traits necessary for a guy who went number 1. Like, Jacksonville shouldn't regret the decision, especially considering the other quarterbacks in that draft class. But he hasn't lived up to going 1.1, but now he finally has an offensive play caller. So I think there's some sort of reason to be optimistic if you're a Jags fan. Jake, hashtag Jake downstairs in the ticket office.
Right. All right, Ben's real second favorite team, the Chiefs.
Can Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense become a juggernaut once again? Because last season it's pick it up by first downs.
I like that.
Like last season it's very surgical. We're only going to do what's necessary. We're not going to burn our plays early. Let's just move the chains. And they were the most efficient team on third down. At the end of the day, that's all you need to do to win games. Put yourself in a position to win, and they always came through and won. But I'd like to see a little bit more juice in the offense this year.
I like that answer. That's not really where they go. They kind of went pretty boring. How will the Chiefs respond to getting thumped in the Super Bowl?
That's so stupid. They're going to win 10-plus games. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, like, they have a full season, so. How about the Las Vegas Raiders?
How big of a difference can Geno Smith make?
You would think that would be the answer. They go, when will Christian Wilkins be healthy? Wasn't really healthy at all last year. That was like their big offseason move. It does make sense, though, because if he is healthy, I mean, him and Max Crosby on that defensive line could make a lot of damage.
Don't forget about Tyree Wilson.
Right, yes. How about the L.A. Chargers and Jim Harbaugh? Kind of a boring answer here, I won't lie.
Can Justin Herbert launch himself into MVP discussions? I think he's one of the more talented quarterbacks in the league, and, the end of the day, he has better numbers than he does production in terms of wins. Feels like there's
he's the
always,
what-if guy.
Yeah,
he's always been the what-if guy.
Yeah, he's the in theory guy, and we finally need to see that put together. So that's what I'd say. I want to see some MVP stuff from him, and I don't think that means like crazy numbers. It just means let's just have an 11-win, 12-win season,
Yeah, they just say who's starting at left guard.
Okay.
So, yeah, just like extremely boring. All right, not a ton of teams left. A lot of stuff going on with this team. Actually, we're skipping this one. The Miami Dolphins. All they said was, when will Miami trade Jalen Ramsey? So this must have come out Monday or something prior to the trade. Unless you have something else you want to say for Miami. But
how awesome will Darren Waller be?
Right, yes. How about the New England Patriots?
What difference will Mike Vrabel make? Can they have the biggest 180 in the league? Can they be the league's most improved team? Can he win Coach of the Year?
Yeah. It's a good one. There's always a team that does this. They talked about the offensive line aspect of things. They were a really, really bad offensive line last year, worst in the league, and they did a lot to upgrade that, so that's a big concern. How about the New York Jets?
Can we reset the culture under Aaron Glenn? No one was happy last year with Rodgers plaguing this team in a handful of different ways. Felt like Sauce Gardner was unhappy by the end of the year. Garrett Wilson was unhappy by the end of the year. There was some trade talks with both those guys. There was no chance either of them were ever getting traded. Can the culture be reset? Can Aaron Glenn replicate in any way what the Lions had built in Detroit?
Yeah. 2 more teams here. We'll save the good one for last. Tennessee Titans.
Do we have a franchise quarterback?
That should be the question. They're asking about, is L'Jarius Sneed going to be any good?
That
Which
actually
I think is valid.
That's a valid, because that's a top 5 corner 2 years ago, and 3 years ago, and last
they
year
signed
he
him to
kind of
big
stunk.
money.
Yeah, last year he wasn't very good. So that whether or not L'Jarius Sneed is good can definitely flip whether or not Tennessee's the worst team in the league or like at least a frisky team.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. All right, last one. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Is this Mike Tomlin's last season?
Wow. Interesting.
What'd they go
I didn't
with?
think you were going to go that way. They said, will the Steelers add another weapon for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, Alan Lazard, he's coming. They're making the trade.
Randall Cobb, man, he'll come out of retirement. All right, that's all of them.
All right, that's our trip around the league. Again, 989-837-6125. Last chance. You've got about 4 more minutes to text in Comerica to 989-837-6125. One of you is going to the Detroit Tigers game against the Seattle Mariners, and that is a week from Saturday. So we're going to take a break, come back, pick a winner. You've got a couple more minutes to text in Comerica to that number. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Hey parents, got a young athlete at home? Sign them up for the Midland Community Foundation's Try Kids, Try Youth Triathlon. Saturday, July 19th at Plymouth Park in Midland. Kids ages 6 to 15 will swim, bike, and run their way through the finish line in a fun, supportive environment. And don't miss the mini TKT for ages 3 to 5 happening Friday, July 18th. Register now at greatermidland.org/races. That's greatermidland.org/races.
When the summer heat is on, keep your cool with Answer Heating and Cooling. Our expert team specializes in fast, reliable air conditioning repairs, installations, and maintenance. Stay comfortable all season long with top-notch cooling solutions and simply outstanding service. Plus, with financing options and special rebates, cooling your home has never been more affordable. Answer Heating and Cooling, where comfort is our priority. Try our new schedule online option or call us today.
Now, wait a second, Sharon. So the Midland Area Community Foundation runs the Midland Area Santa House?
You bet we do.
And Midland Area River Days?
Absolutely.
Plus scholarships for students and grants for local nonprofits? That's like hitting the cycle and impacting our community.
Anyone can step up to the plate and help build community capital for as little as $5.
$5? That's the cost of a snack at the ballpark. How do I get in the game?
Just visit midlandfoundation.org and make a gift to our community investment fund. Every dollar makes a difference.
Join the team. Give today at midlandfoundation.org.
We can't see tomorrow, but we can hear it. And it sounds like peace of mind, knowing our lakes will be better protected by placing Line 5 in the Great Lakes Tunnel. And that we've added extra safety measures while we work to build it, because we're committed to keeping the Great Lakes safe for generations to come. Tomorrow is on. Visit enbridge.com/line5 for more information. Enbridge. Life takes energy.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball. It's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Once again, want to thank our friends over at Garber Chevrolet Midland for making this Big Win Wednesday possible. Every Wednesday this summer, we're giving away Detroit Tigers tickets. The keyword today was Comerica. You had to text that in, and we do have our winner. Congratulations to Tim from Saginaw. You are going to the Detroit Tigers game next Saturday when they're taking on the Seattle Mariners back at home in Comerica Park. Kyle, we got to make it out to a game at some point this year.
Let's go, Tigers!
Yeah, we do. You went to the game the other night, man.
It was very fun. I want to go back.
Yeah, I haven't gone to a game yet this year. I went to one at the end of last season, but Yet to go this season. Got to go to one.
I usually make it out pretty early. Like that was pretty late for me to go to the first game, but I try to make it to 2 or 3 a year because affordable tickets, to some extent, not what it used to be, but compared to like the Lions and Pistons games and everything, definitely the most affordable ticket.
Yeah,
in
super
town.
affordable. And it's just like the easiest to kind of get in and out of, I've always felt.
Of Comerica?
As far, like, compared to going to a Pistons or Lions game, I think it's easiest to just get in and out of Detroit to go to a Tigers game.
Why?
For parking and everything. I just feel like it's the easiest process of going to a game.
Yeah, you might be right about that. Do you like going to night games or day games?
I've only gone to like 2 night games in my life. I've gone to a ton of day games. So I would say day games, but I haven't been to a lot of night games.
The day games, the only issue is in the summer. Like if you're there on the wrong day, you are going to be sweating.
Yeah, you're just stuck. That is the worst part.
You're just being in the sun. That was the first night game I'd been to in a long time at Comerica. The only other night game I can remember going to is the one where Austin Jackson made a catch in the bottom of the 9th inning. It would have been the top of the 9th inning. Gunned a guy down at home plate to win the game. I think it was against Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, because that's the classic, oh, Jackson.
Yeah, that game.
From Rod, yeah.
I think that was the last time I went to a night game prior to Sunday, but Sunday was like
yeah, I went to a Sunday Night Baseball one time in my life, and it was the first Tigers game I'd been to that they actually lost. It was me and my dad and my uncle sitting out in right field. Top of the 9th inning, David Ortiz goes yard. Take the lead.
Gross, don't say that name.
Ended up meeting Barry Larkin, too, and the whole Sunday Night Baseball crew from ESPN.
Oh, nice.
That was sick. Yeah, that was super cool.
You ever been to a Lions night game?
Nope. Never.
It's a difference. I went to the Monday night game.
Did you go to the Seattle one this year, right?
No. I went to the Monday night game years ago. Sam Darnold's very first game in the NFL.
That was game 1 of the year.
Game 1, Monday night. They pick him off and go for 6.
Game, man.
Well, okay, so like the opening kickoff, there was so much juice inside Ford Field because there was just some like electric hits just on the opening kickoff. I remember the sound of it was just like you would have thought it was the Super Bowl. There was so much energy in there. And then very first play from scrimmage, Sam Darnold throws a pick 6, and like I vividly remember that was probably the second loudest environment I've ever been in a sporting event. It was so loud in there. It was like, "Welcome to the league, you stupid idiot, Sam Darnold. We're about to rock your bad pass. We're about to rock your season. This is the season for the Lions." And then I don't think the Lions scored again. Sam Darnold proceeded
to
put up 50
points.
Yeah, I think
it was like 51 to 13 or something.
Yeah, it was
so bad.
The first 10 minutes of that game, though, or really the first like 3 minutes, so electric. Oh, it was so fun. But the best environment I've ever been in, and I don't even think it's close, was Game 6 Game 6 of the NBA playoffs this year against New York. I thought my head was going to explode when
like the game they lost.
The game they lost the series,
right?
But,
like when Hardaway hits that 3, and the place just goes nuts.
Well, in the fourth quarter when they went on that, what was it, 11-2 run because Sar Thompson just kept stealing the ball and breaking away in transition, and Beasley was finally hitting his threes. I actually thought my head was going to explode. I had to consciously ask myself, is it worth screaming right now? Because your head hurts so bad. And every single time I would decide it actually is worth this pounding headache right now because once in a lifetime kind of stuff from down there. Yeah, I almost wonder if it's not going to be as good next year. And there's not real good logic behind that other than like it was so fresh, it was so new, we were so hungry for playoff basketball that like I was wondering like, okay, if the Pistons were in the finals next year, could it even be topped? And like I would think the answer is yes, but at the same time they were so fresh and so like it was such a surprise that they were fighting for their lives in those games that I don't know if that first ever playoff series in LCA can be topped. It was a unique environment. For sure. The Game 3 one was totally different because that was just like mean. That was mean towards Brunson.
Yeah, I mean, he became Detroit's number 1 enemy.
See Detroit's number 1 enemy right now?
Ooh, this would be a good list to do at some point. I mean, currently, today, it's Sophie Cunningham.
Yeah,
but just in general.
You're right, it is. Congratulations, Sophie Cunningham in the WNBA. You've made the list.
But like currently, I mean, or just in general, Aaron Rodgers probably still is number 1.
Especially coming back to Ford Field this year. Oh,
right.
I'll learn to hate him again.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say Ben Johnson is on that list.
I don't buy it. I really
You don't think he's an enemy of Detroit?
I think he is, but I think at the end of the day, people will look fondly on him. It's not until they start beating the Lions.
No, people look fondly on him right now until they start playing.
No, I think it's
the second it's Bears v Lions, he is enemy.
No, you're right. He's enemy, but I think it's going to take them. It's going to take the Bears beating us and then like him saying something for it to really be sparked up to a level 5.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be level 5 right off rip.
It could be. It might just be Brunson, honestly.
Yeah, I think Matt Patricia is, but he also isn't really
That's
relevant
old.
anymore, so doesn't really count. Yeah, Brunson definitely is probably the answer.
Or Jose Ramirez. I hate that
but
guy.
He's not hateable.
No, he just destroys us.
Right, but yeah, he's not a hateable guy though.
I also don't like Buxton. I've realized that. He's so good though. I can't wait for Parker to take this next step because Buxton is actually a menace on the base paths.
When he plays more than 80 games in a season.
Fair. But when he gets on the base paths and is just screwing with whoever's on the mound, threatening to steal at all times, even when he's not, it's just such a mind game for whoever the pitcher is. I want Parker to start playing like that because he has the speed to be able to do it. They just don't use him very often. All right. Anyway, 989-837-6125. Michigan right now. Michigan Wolverines on an absolute heater of a stretch when it comes to recruiting. Want to touch on that when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Michigan. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in. Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Wednesday so far. Happy Hump Day. Gave away some Tigers tickets earlier today, which was awesome. Thanks to our friends over at Garber Chevrolet Midland. But for now, let's jump into this Michigan thing because, man, I'm so sick for football right now. And the fact that we get Lions football training camp starting in 2 weeks has me really excited. But what also has me excited is this heater that Sharon Moore has been on. So let me just rip through some of these really fast. 5-star edge, Carter Meadows. This is all the 2026 recruiting class. 5-star edge, Carter Meadows. 4-star wide receiver, Zion Robinson. 4-star offensive tackle, Malachi Lee. 4-star edge, Julian Walker. 4-star safety, Andre Clark. 4-star offensive lineman, Marky Walbridge. 4-star defensive tackle, Titan Davis. 3-star linebacker, Markel Dabney. This is all in the past week or so. This team is on fire right now when it comes to the recruiting things. And unfortunately, Michigan State can't say the same thing. I'm not trying to throw unnecessary digs right now, but it's just the reality of the situation.
It kind of seems like you are, man.
It's the reality of the situation, right? Michigan, let's just be honest with ourselves. Michigan State fans wish they had this sort of off-season win, and that hasn't really been the case. They're pretty reliant on Aiden Childs, Nick Marsh being the duo, having new coaching staffs. Michigan's out there actively recruiting and being dominant in the high school scene 2 years in advance. Now, my first thought with this is, well, first of all, one of my first thoughts was, oh my God, this Carter Meadows guy, this 5-star edge, is an actual freak of nature. Watched 2 minutes of his highlights from his junior year of high school. Just what junior in high school is 6'6", 225 pounds? It makes no sense. He's a freak and someone who's obviously going to come in. They're still going to land him. He's committed right now, but you know how it works in today's college football landscape. Someone throws a bag and you could end up flipping pretty soon. But it's like Michigan is constantly getting these guys to pump through their system. And, this guy not obviously helping right away, still in high school right now, but it's the long-term success that this Michigan program under Sharon Moore is operating on right now. And I think that's kind of the successful part. Now, what the expectation is for Michigan heading into this season, I do think needs to be tampered a little bit, because to expect an 18-year-old quarterback to dominate at the college football level when there are 25-year-olds playing at this level with 4+ years of experience, I just think it's unfair expectations to put on someone who, even as talented and high as a prospect as Bryce Underwood is, at the end of the day has no experience at this level. Super athlete, can't wait to see him play, but I think Michigan fans should be more so focused on what does winning look like 2 years from now than what it looks like this season. Because at the end of the day, it's an 18-year-old quarterback, right? Michigan State fans dealt with that last year with Aiden Childs. He's going to make mistakes. Bryce Underwood is going to make mistakes at some point this season.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the YouTube chat. We got some people talking about the Michigan State stuff. Yeah, I mean, ever since Bryce Underwood, and this NIL situation has shifted Michigan's recruitment, it's gone up in a big way. There was a time when the recruiting for Michigan was viewed as difficult because of, how hard it was for admissions and everything, especially for transfers. But now at this point for Michigan, I mean, they have a ton of supply with the NIL that is supporting the football program. And you got to give it to Sharon Moore, man. Obviously, they're recruiting super well right now and trying to sustain something that, building off of a 2 years ago national championship, and hopefully it wasn't a one-time thing or a Jim Harbaugh thing even.
Do you think that this new college football landscape of the $20 million salary cap bridges the gap between a Michigan and a Michigan State a little bit? Do you think this is an advantage towards Michigan State? Because in a way, I kind of feel like it does, because it felt like here Michigan was just going to start throwing money everywhere from some of their big-time donors and just kind of doing the Ohio State route of $30 million roster. Well, you're not unable to do that now. And now if you're a Big Ten team that's not spending the max $20 million on your football roster, it feels like you're just doing your entire school a disservice, or at least your football team. And obviously that's the big moneymaker here. So I do feel like it levels out the playing field a little bit, but then you just get like, again, I think I've made my stance clear on this. I have no issues with these guys getting paid. It is the transfer portal that really bothers me, of the guys that transfer 4 times in 4 years. Right. I just don't understand how anyone can say that is good for the sport, Which is fair. So, but I do think, this salary cap thing, I mean, it's semi-professional football at this point, and I think they should lean more into that than lean away from it. I do think it levels the playing field between a Michigan and Michigan State to some extent. Maybe we don't see that come to fruition for a couple of seasons. But then again, Michigan's landing all these guys for 2026. And right now they have a top 10 recruiting class, and it doesn't feel like they're done. All the Michigan guys are saying that Sharon Moore is kind of in the middle of his heater rather than at the end of it. And Michigan State's kind of failed to land some of these top-end talent, even though they have the money to do it.
It's hard to predict anything for either school. Because with Michigan State, they're going through a change of athletic director where it's like, what are the expectations for Michigan State this year? Probably not that high, but they're probably higher than they should be just because Jonathan Smith was not hired by the current athletic director, and there's a clear want by that department and the donors, the people involved, for the football program to be better. For Michigan, we don't even know how long Sharon Moore is going to be there, when he's going to be coaching, what games. The recruiting stuff is awesome, but there's so many question marks for Michigan right now that a lot of the guys on the team, it's none of their fault, but they're still involved. So both teams right now, so hard to predict what each team looks like a year from now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is going to be fascinating for both schools who find themselves at somewhat of a crossroads. I don't think maybe crossroads isn't the right word for Michigan, but I don't know. Anything is on the table in terms of what happens with this Sharon Moore suspension. They try to suspend him for weeks 3 and 4. I guess the only thing that I'd be shocked about is if the NCAA was like, "Yep, sounds good to us." Anything else is on the table, and anything outside of just agreeing, yeah, Sharon Moore, that's fine, would blow my mind. Anything else wouldn't surprise me at all. So, and then obviously with Mr. Smith, Jonathan Smith, with a new AD, you don't really know what the future looks like there either. A lot of uncertainty for that program.
It's nothing that he's done wrong. It's just
the reality of the situation.
You just don't know. Yeah, exactly. You like to have your own guy most of the time.
989-837-6125. Look, here's the deal. We've got the 11 o'clock hour coming up. We've got 2 Tigers games a little bit later on. We've got a little bit of confusion right now in terms of who's on the team and who is not on the team, because it feels like someone is going to be sent down here pretty soon. And because with the doubleheader, you get an extra roster spot, but the Tigers called up 2 new players from AAA, as they're reporting right now. So someone on the Tigers is being optioned down to AAA at some point today, it sounds like. We just don't know who it is yet. So maybe we'll dive into that in the 11 o'clock hour. We've also got to circle back to this Detroit Pistons conversation, because I am not a fan of what they've done in free agency, but it's not really Trajan Langdon's fault. This will forever be known as the year in which Malik Beasley screwed over the Pistons and himself, because he's costing himself millions and millions of dollars with the situation he has found himself in with the FBI breathing down his throat. 989-837-6125. It is a Wednesday, as always. Big Win Wednesday. Gave away the Tigers tickets earlier today, thanks to our friends at Garber Chevrolet. We'll be right back. 11 o'clock hour coming up. Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show. Powered
Blasey Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
$11 hour number 3 on its way. Ben Bosscher here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Kyle Sandel behind the glass producing for us today. Let's circle back to this Detroit Pistons thing because I can't be more frustrated with the situation that they found themselves in right now. They lose out on Beasley. They lose out on Dennis Schroeder. They lose out on Tim Hardaway Jr. Those are the 3 veteran role players that they added last offseason that to me are the biggest reasons Cade Cunningham was able to take that leap forward this year because he was surrounded by real talent rather than just bums like Alec Burks and Evan Fournier. So, like, once you finally put some real NBA players around him, you saw Cade take this leap forward. And what I don't think is arguable right now is that their role players and their veterans are significantly worse heading into this year than they were last year. Again, they lose out on Tim Hardaway Jr. They lose out on Dennis Schroeder. Beasley's probably never playing another NBA game again, if I had to guess. And they've replaced those 2 guys with Karis LeVert, who I've made very clear, not a fan of. Not just in terms of this fit for the Pistons, but just wouldn't really want that guy on my basketball team. And the other situation, the other circumstance would be, or the other player that they've added, I guess is what I should say, is Duncan Robinson. Look, Duncan Robinson's one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Had some people tell me, well, it is a three-point shooting league after all. I don't know if I get it. It's only been 1 year, but the team that won the NBA Finals was the worst three-point shooting team in the playoffs, and what it came down to was their ability to play defense. Duncan Robinson cannot play defense, is a complete mismatch out there. And everything that Trajan Langdon has told us this offseason is that they are investing their future in Jaden Ivey. They want their internal development to be the number 1 priority. And what that means is their offseason addition, their big move, whereas Orlando's looking externally. You've got other teams in the Eastern Conference that are looking to make big splashes. The Pistons' big splash of the offseason is the addition of Jaden Ivey. And they just signed a player in Duncan Robinson who cannot play next to Jaden Ivey because that would be the worst defensive backcourt to get thrown out onto an NBA court this year. That's why I'm frustrated with the situation. And I'm not mad at Trajan Langdon because he had 24 hours to draw up a completely new plan. They had to erase the whiteboard and figure something else out. Because Malik Beasley effed over the Pistons. 2 years ago, he's being investigated for a single game in which there was a ton of movement on his over-under in rebounds. The FBI is involved, and now more and more stuff's just coming out that he owes this person money, he owes that person money, he owes his apartment complex money. But he seems to be in a lot of financial trouble right now, which makes me think he is very much guilty of whatever he's being accused of doing. He's probably never playing another NBA game, if I had to guess. And the timing of this, it could have been worse, but it couldn't have been a whole lot worse.
I don't know if it could have been worse.
Well, if they would have signed him, that would have been unfortunate. But
true.
To find out 30 hours before free agency opens up, like even a week before, it would have given Trajan Langdon in the front office enough time to come up with some other plan. But they basically had to, what teams spend months and months preparing for, they basically had 24 hours to come up with a completely new plan because their plan was to re-sign Beasley, $42 million, 3 years, one of the best three-point shooting seasons we've ever seen last year, 319 of those things. They had to draw something else up in a matter of 30 hours. And what they drew up, I guess, in an unsurprising way, was pretty ugly. Beasley screwed this team over. He screwed himself over more than anything, but little did he know the implications it would have years down the line. With the team he didn't even do it for is the unfortunate part. This was 2 years ago before he was on the Pistons, and it's going to hurt the Pistons more than it's going to hurt any other team.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about this earlier about how I was struggling with how do I be upset almost? Because it's hard not to be upset, right? The two options for the Pistons this offseason seem to be run it back or make a big move and improve the roster. And they did neither, essentially, not to their own fault. They were going to run it back by bringing back Beasley. It seemed like bringing back Schroeder really wasn't in play. And from everything I'm seeing, there still is a potential world for a Schroeder sign-and trade, but it's probably unlikely at this point. But their option of running it back was totally wiped away when Beasley wasn't able to come back. I mean, obviously they still could bring it back, but whatever. So I was upset at them first because they chose neither option. But what else were they supposed to do, right? They had to make up for that shooting at some point. They lost over 500 total made threes last year with Beasley, Hardaway, and Schroeder.
What was the number Tim Hardaway ended up going for? Because
now, obviously, I mean, you're bringing back Ivey, who's going to be one of your better three-point shooters. Duncan Robinson has been a 200 three-point makes guy for several years in the NBA.
But those guys can't play together.
They're gonna.
No, they're not.
You don't think they'll ever play together?
I hope not. Not unless the Pistons want to get 0 stops ever. And what was this team's identity last year?
I can promise you when we saw Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson together, we will see Jaden Ivey and Duncan Robinson together.
Okay, but this team's, like, the reason that they had so much success from January to April was because of their defensive identity. Like, it was hard to score on this team. You're wiping that away when you add Jaden Ivey to the mix in general. You're going to take a step back defensively. Now you add one of the worst perimeter defenders in the NBA in Duncan Robinson. You're throwing away what made you successful last season if you put those guys on the floor together. That's where I get a little bit confused about this, you know?
I would agree. But it's like their alternative was what? Not doing anything? They had to replace the three-point shooting because that's what they lost the most of.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that like the defense isn't great, but Beasley and Hardaway weren't these tremendous defenders. What it all comes down to is like Jaden Ivey clearly is trusted by this front office because they could have made their plan B backup move be a panic big trade and go get a Malik Monk or someone even bigger than that.
Well, I think they tried to get Malik Monk, but the Kings were able to free up enough cap space.
Yeah. So they clearly trust Jaden Ivey, though, because their backup plan could have been to panic and do something even bigger than signing these two former Wolverines. So this season is all about Jaden Ivey. We've talked about the ceiling of Asar Thompson and the potential that he has this year, but bringing back Ivey and what he brings to the table is clearly what's going to define this season for the Pistons.
Did you end up seeing what Tim Hardaway Jr. signed for? Because when it first got announced yesterday, there was no price tag on it, and now I'm on Spotrac and I see what it actually is.
Wait, wasn't it like one for $5 or $6 million?
$3.6 million.
Okay, yeah.
Why is he not a Piston? They have more cap space than all but 4 other teams. Why would they not just give Tim Hardaway Jr. a 1 year $8 million or just double
on Duncan Robinson and LeVert?
Ugh. I'd rather have Tim Hardaway Jr. just straight
what's
up.
What's up with all these Michigan guys, man?
Wait,
why couldn't we go get Gary Harris?
Wait. Would you rather have Tim Hardaway Jr. or Duncan Robinson?
Just in general?
Hold on. Tim Hardaway Jr. for $6 million or Duncan Robinson for a 3-year phony 3-year $37 million contract?
I mean, probably Hardaway. Duncan Robinson is for sure a better player.
Is he?
But I get the price. Yeah, he is.
He got built out of a playoff rotation because he couldn't defend anybody because the other team was picking on him so much.
Because he couldn't make a shot.
I'm not talking about Beasley right now. I'm talking about Hardaway.
But we all know Beasley's better than Hardaway. Hardaway didn't close any playoff games.
He started every one of them.
Okay, we're going back to the starting thing. He played like 20 minutes a night starting. Like it doesn't matter who starts.
And you know how many minutes Duncan Robinson has played in each of his last 2 playoff series, which is 2 years because they've been one and done each year. 13 minutes a game. 13 minutes a game. Because
I didn't want this to turn into a me
defense.
Defending Duncan Robinson because I still think that this is a worse team this year than last year. But all I'm saying is, like, what were they supposed to do? Here's a positive.
Re-sign Tim Hardaway Jr. I get it. He wants to go play for a contender. Like, from a basketball standpoint, I get it. Go play with Jokic. You're probably going to have your best numbers of your career. You're going to shoot the crap out of the ball. You're going to have some success to try to win a playoff ring. But you're telling me if the Pistons don't double or triple the salary, which they can afford to do, they could totally afford to just overpay Tim Hardaway Jr. They have more cap space than all but 4 teams and are miles and miles away from actually hitting the first apron. They could have just doubled or tripled his contract, and I feel like he would have been back.
I mean, that's just an overpay, man. For Tim Hardaway?
But a 1-year contract, what difference does it make?
I mean, Duncan Robinson's essentially on a 1-year contract. And it's tradable. That's the part where I almost lean the Duncan Robinson route. Pistons at the deadline next year, throw Robinson $16 million with somebody else. Next thing you know, you can upgrade. You couldn't do it with $5 million from Tim Hardaway.
That's fair.
Obviously, you shouldn't be signing guys based on the idea of trading them in 6 months.
No, but it's something you have to take into consideration.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's kind of the Karis LeVert deal. He's been traded everywhere he's gone, and it's a tradable contract.
I mean, look,
odds
you
are he's
trade
getting
Robinson and LeVert together, there's 30 M's.
Who's a $30 million player that you'd want to add?
That's having that option is nice, right?
Right. I just think Beasley screwed this team over in a way that I didn't comprehend on Monday. I didn't even fully comprehend on Tuesday, but after I got done with huge show at 6 and I think they signed Duncan Robinson at like 6:30. After that, I was like, wow, like Beasley really put this team in a tough situation. And I'm upset about that part about it. I'm even more upset that that kind of stuff just happens in the NBA. As much as we loved Beasley this past season and how great his vibes were and how good of a veteran he was to have on this young team, I feel like that almost all gets thrown out the window. Like, I'm always going to remember Malik Beasley. This guy who screwed over the Pistons after the awesome season he had. I know, it sucks,
man. I almost bought a Beasley jersey this year. I talked about it all season. Like, this was one of my favorite Pistons seasons ever. The vibes he brought, the leadership, the attitude that he fit with all the young guys.
Thrown out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll circle back to the Sophie Cunningham thing in a second. I'm still just so upset with how this thing played out. I'm not a fan of what they've done so far in free agency, but at the same time, I don't have a better option because all the other options like Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard, for that matter, all went to Atlanta, and the Pistons had to come up with a new plan in a matter of 24 hours. So back against the wall for Trajan Langdon, who's no longer batting 1,000. You know who is batting 1,000? Midland Eye Care. See the difference at Midland Eye Care, where your vision is their focus, offering comprehensive eye exams, glasses, contacts, and advanced eye health services. Friendly, knowledgeable staff, and a wide variety of stylish frames for every face and every budget. They're locally owned and trusted by families throughout the Midland area while offering comprehensive eye care services and in-demand frames. Whether you're updating your prescription or checking in on your eye health, they've got you covered. Book your appointment today and start seeing clearer tomorrow. That is Midland Eye Care. When we come back, Sophie Cunningham made herself public enemy #1 in Detroit. That's next. Here on the Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt. Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in. Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt. We've got a public enemy number one right now in the city of Detroit. First of all, congratulations to Sophie Cunningham and the WNBA. You guys have put yourself on the map in a positive way here in Detroit. Not only are you getting a team, but when that team launches in 2029, the Indiana Fever have already made themselves public enemy one. That is if Sophie Cunningham is still on that team. And if people...
Wait, does that mean we have to hate Caitlin Clark?
No, I don't want to hate Caitlin Clark. I've already done that. Hated her all of her college career. That wasn't fun. Oh, yeah.
What?
I was a big Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins, Angel Reese person. I was rooting against her
I'm a
hard.
big Juju fan as well, but
once she got to the league,
how do you not like Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know.
Well, other than, of course, every single player in the WNBA that doesn't play for the Fever. But
the despise that Kelsey Plum has for Caitlin Clark.
Every person, dude.
No,
all the WNBA hates her.
Kelsey Plum hates her on a completely different level. Like Kelsey Plum truly thinks
Kelsey Plum is also kind of a bum, low key.
Kelsey Plum thinks she was the one that should have revolutionized the game, and she thinks
that's
in
how I
her
feel. A
head
lot of the
she's
players
face
in the
of
WNBA feel though. It's a hatred of jealousy, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Did you see the clip of Kelsey Plum?
With the autographs?
No. Well,
that's why I'm calling her a bum.
That one, too, where she's just like, I don't understand why you want an autograph. I don't know, Kelsey. Maybe because you're a professional athlete.
Yeah, maybe because, I'm a fan of yours.
Yeah, she's the one that wants to be the face of the league. No. I'm talking about the video from a couple days ago where there was someone sitting at their game courtside in a Caitlin Clark shirt, and she, made that person take it off. They're like,
what?
Well, she got her a shirt for her team. She was like, but you can't wear that Fever thing if you're sitting courtside.
Was the Fever playing in that game?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know now that I think about it. I don't know.
That's the weirdest thing I ever heard.
Yeah, she despises. I think she despises her more than Angel Reese does, honestly.
I don't even think Angel Reese dislikes Caitlin Clark that much.
What?
It's more for the cameras and stuff, you know?
I don't know, man. I think she really, really...
Them other girls on the Chicago Sky hate her more.
This is like everyone thinks CM Punk hates John Cena. He doesn't hate John Cena. He hates the idea of John Cena. Angel Reese hates the way people view Caitlin Clark and the way she's talked about. I don't think she actually hates Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, but people view her and talk about her like that because of how good she is.
I agree with you. I think Angel Reese doesn't like Caitlin Clark the way people talk about her. I think Kelsey Plum truly hates everything about Caitlin Clark, along with a lot of other players in the WNBA. But anyway, Sophie Cunningham, that guy's a loser. Her teammate basically threw Detroit under the bus and was like, I don't know why this team would get a WNBA team because there's one coming to Detroit in 2029. Kyle and I both hope it is the return of the Detroit Shock. I guess it is to be determined whether or not they will name themselves the Detroit Shock, but they are in fact getting an expansion team in 29, along with a few other cities in 28 and 29. So Cunningham basically said, I don't know why we'd go to Detroit. It'd be more fun to put a team in Miami, Nashville, more desirable cities. Maybe those cities are more fun for...
just reading Wikipedia's top 5 most famous party cities in America.
Wait, let me guess. Miami, Nashville, LA, Vegas? No?
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, I thought you had it pulled up. My bad.
Oh, no. You're Las Vegas, number 1, Miami, number 2, New York, number 3, Nashville's number 6.
What's 5?
Los Angeles, New Orleans, number 4.
Zion knows all about that.
Right.
But I don't know. I just think her saying that about the city made her come off as uneducated. And I'm not saying she is, but she definitely didn't, look into this at all and kind of just started explaining her thoughts, which, as a player in the league, I think you can get away with a lot more than just a regular person. But to say that I don't know if there'd be excitement for a city like Detroit, this takes 10 seconds to look up online what the Shock's attendance was back when they were winning. They were number 1 in attendance in the WNBA for 3 consecutive seasons. So how you can sit there and
her
justifiably
is
say
that
it is
the
crazy.
Players wouldn't want to play there.
Okay.
That's what she's saying.
Okay, then my problem with that is she's clearly
Has
never
she
been to
asked
Detroit.
every player in the league? Like,
has she been to Detroit?
No.
I would be willing to bet the answer is no. But she had a nice girls trip in Nashville and said, "Oh, let's just put a team there." What
yeah,
what
went
are we
to spring
talking
break
about?
in Miami one year. There should be a team there.
Yeah, we had a nice back in college. We went and played Miami U. It was awesome. Like that's not how this works, though. That's not how this. You got to put WNBA teams in cities that there'd be desirable markets, and it didn't. Nashville's a very touristy town. Miami's it's touristy town too. People in Detroit would be excited to go see their team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you ever seen the Miami Marlins attendance, Sophie Cunningham?
Oh, it's bad. Like they're one of the worst attended teams. All these Florida teams are like, and I guess I can't speak for Nashville as much. They only have one professional team, but there's a reason there's not a baseball team there. There's a reason there's not a football team in Nashville. It's because that is a very touristy town compared to a city like Detroit that actually would have passionate fans. My biggest takeaway is she was very uneducated on this conversation that she launched herself into.
Kind of for no reason, too.
Yeah. Like, oh, they're
and she was
expanding
viewed
too
as
fast.
such a, like, people loved her because of her defending Caitlin Clark in that big fight.
Why else?
That was the main reason.
Okay.
That's why. I mean, that's
no,
personally
for sure,
why I
dude,
did.
for sure.
That's personally why I did. I don't know if there's any other reasons, but just completely has flipped the way people view her.
She went from being one of the most popular players in the league to now being public enemy one in all of these new expansion cities. All of them. And for anyone who's like, this is not how you grow your league, no, it actually is. Like she's actually, I think the WNBA is at a point right now where all publicity is good publicity. And maybe you can say that about every league. I don't know if that's
you can say about
true.
anything.
Deshaun Watson publicity, not good publicity.
Okay.
But
sure.
But in the WNBA, it doesn't matter how you're talking about these players. If you're talking about them, it's a win for that league right now, the way that they're growing and expanding. And I get it, like it rubs some people the wrong way, but this is ultimately good for the league. I talk about this all the time. Sometimes you need villains. You don't have a ton.
Villains are good. Yes.
Villains are very good. Like LeBron in Miami, villain. Everyone rooting against him.
I've always thought when there's a team or
polarizing.
player to hate, it is good for the sport. That's why the Dodgers, I think, are good for Major League Baseball when they sign everyone, because everyone's like, oh, it's everyone versus the Dodgers. I think that's a good thing.
Same with the Chiefs. Same with LeBron when he goes to Miami after the decision. Whether who you thought was the good guy or the bad guy in Bird versus Magic completely depended on where you lived, but there was heroes and villains, and I think that the WNBA is entering that territory and kind of in this new renaissance. And Sophie Cunningham is kind of dancing the line of both being a hero and a villain. You know what's going to be fun, though? When everyone does end up turning on Caitlin Clark. Have we ever had an athlete with this high of a approval rating who's this good at their sport? I guess Ohtani?
Just from the fans?
Yeah, I don't know anyone who really hates Ohtani.
Yeah,
but
that's probably a good one.
Everyone turned on Mahomes. Everyone turned on Brady. Everyone turned on LeBron at some point.
Everyone turned on Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph's got a very high approval rating.
Yeah.
But like Caitlin kind of fits right into that bill right now. She doesn't have a ton of haters, but her teammates saying all that stuff and coming to her aid a little bit.
Everyone is turned on.
Well, that's because he's had bad playoff performances.
But they still have turned on him.
It feels like it's only a matter of time before people start turning on Caitlin Clark, and this Sophie Cunningham thing maybe is the first little tiny step in that happening, even though it wasn't anything that Caitlin Clark said. It was more stuff that Sophie Cunningham said. 989-837-6125. A lot of news happening right now. We'll hit it when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt. Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt. Let's take a second and go through the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
Okay, Ben.
Okay,
a little
John.
bit of breaking news. Here. Nothing crazy, but some Tigers breaking news. So we were a little bit confused during a break a couple breaks ago because obviously with the doubleheader today, Tigers get a 27th man.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey Horn is the 27th man.
Mm-hmm.
But then also Tyler Owens, who was a reliever on the team earlier this year, didn't get a ton of appearances. He was there as well.
I saw this during the
Sawyer
break, too.
Gibson Long put on IL with a neck strain.
Not good.
Really tough, man. It
Which
looked like
means
he was going to be the
bullpen
bulk
day.
hitting guy today. Bullpen day.
Gross.
Not only is it a bullpen day, the Tigers just don't have a bulk inning guy right now. Unless you want to say Dietrich Enns is that guy, I guess, which he could be. We've also seen him one time. But Kiter Montero remains in AAA. Sawyer Gibson Long now on IL. Tough spot.
Yeah. I'm so disgusted by bullpen days now with how bad the bullpen has been. But hey, they've got some new faces. Maybe it'll be different today against this Nationals team.
We'll see. First game against the Nationals at 1:05. Tyler Holton getting things started off. We talked about the updated rankings on the MLB Pipeline Top 100. Baseball America also dropped theirs as well, which is another pretty respected site. A lot of people honestly prefer that over the MLB.com one. Kevin McGonigle, number 3 on this list. Woohoo!
No, who are the two ahead of him?
Oh, it's behind a paywall. Oh. I just saw the Tigers, guys.
Nice.
Max Stark is at 13.
I like the MLB one.
Yeah, sure.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
I don't like this one because Briseño's 75.
Ah, come on. How can the guy who
Come
leads
on,
the
man.
Midwest League in home runs and OPS be 75?
Right. All right, more Tigers news. Alex Lang made his third rehab appearance in AAA Toledo last night. It's his third straight scoreless outing. So far in AAA, he's faced 10 hitters, 48 pitches, 5 strikeouts, just 1 walk. That was his issue 2 seasons ago with the Tigers when he kind of fell out of that closer role. Just walked a ton of guys with that curveball. So hopefully we can see some Alex Lang at some point.
That'd be a nice addition to the bullpen that has struggled mightily.
Remember 2 years ago when Alex Lang was the best closer in baseball for a month and a half?
The turtleneck, right?
Yes.
The turtleneck was awesome.
Big Alex Lang fan.
Even
That
when it was
curveball's
hot,
nasty.
right? He was still wearing that turtleneck when it was
he's a
80 degrees.
turtleneck guy, for sure. The New York Knicks, still the only team in the NBA without a head coach currently. Mike Brown set for his second interview with the Knicks, former Sacramento Kings coach of the year a few years back. I would assume he ends up getting this spot. Kind of crazy the Knicks still don't have a coach, but I guess it's no one else is looking to hire a coach, so I guess they can take their time.
I forget the Knicks just are out on a coach right now.
They're out on that, man.
Do you think they
sold
regret
stock on a coach?
I feel like they regret firing Tom Thibodeau. I feel like they fired him with the idea of someone's going to want to take this Knicks job. We're the most desirable team to coach in the NBA. When in reality, it's not as desirable as most people think because you get fired for winning a playoff series.
Literally, yeah. We got some more news that is broke during the show today. Nothing as crazy as the last couple days. But the NHL players have gotten the green light to participate in the 2026 Olympics. After the success of the Four Nations face-off, it seems like. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman gives them the thumbs up.
Awesome. Is that during the season, though?
Yeah, it would be, right? Yeah,
How's that
it's in
gonna work?
February,
They're
January,
just going to pause
February.
the season the way the WNBA does?
Potentially. I guess I'll have to read into this a little bit. But
yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how that goes down. We have the saddest news probably since we've started this show. The GOAT, Red Panda, was injured during the Commissioner's Cup halftime performance last night. Fell off the unicycle. If you don't know Red Panda, one, you're missing out.
You've probably seen her.
One, you're a loser.
All right.
No, but Red Panda's awesome. She performs at a ton of different things. I've seen her live before at a Pistons game.
She does a
Throws
lot of
all the
stuff.
bowls up on her head,
Yeah.
catches them on a unicycle, just does everything. But she fell last night and got injured.
Prayers up for the Red Panda.
Yeah, for real. We talked a lot about former Michigan Wolverines today. Let's talk about a Spartan, Jaren Jackson Jr., who just signed a 5-year, $240 million deal with Memphis, largest deal. Immediately suffered a turf toe injury in his right foot on Tuesday in a off-site open basketball session. And he's going to need surgery. Jaren Jackson starts off the year hurt nearly every season.
And if he doesn't, he'll get hurt eventually. Unfortunately.
Sucks, man. And just signed a huge deal as well. So no timeline on his return. He's expected to make a full recovery, but the turf toe injury, man. We know how bad that turf toe gets with Frank Ragnow.
Isn't it crazy that Jaren Jackson is going to be one of the highest paid players in the NBA for 2025, 2026?
Yeah.
Do you know who the two highest salaries are?
Ooh. Jaylen Brown.
No.
Oh, no. His is towards the end. I got to think of guys at the end of their deal. Jimmy Butler?
Nope.
Steph?
Yep. Steph, AD, Giannis, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic.
Wow.
That's a tough one, man.
That's a really tough one. Speaking of the Warriors, the Celtics, and the Lakers are among the teams that have interest in doing a deal with Damian Lillard.
I don't believe this.
Sooner rather than later.
I don't believe it at all. No, I don't think anyone's signing him. What's the point?
No one's signing him at all?
He's not playing this season.
Yeah, you just signed him to a 2-year deal. You want to be the first one to get him, right?
I don't know who's in a rush to get Damian Lillard post an Achilles injury at this point in his career. He's a 6'1" guard.
You're telling me the Celtics wouldn't take Damian Lillard? They're already missing out on this season. Imagine them
I think the
coming
Celtics
back
kind of want to lose. Oh, I see.
He's not playing this year.
I know. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think that'd be a smart move for the Celtics. The Warriors, I don't think you can play him and Steph together.
Yeah, I think that's more
defensively.
Of just a fun thing that they're throwing out.
The Warriors are always connected to guys who are available.
To everything.
It's like the Lakers.
Last thing, Coco Gauff, legend. Not a legend in Wimbledon this year, losing in round 1 of Wimbledon, immediately coming off of winning the French Open Championship, just the third woman ever to do so. Was beaten by unseeded Diana Yastremska of Ukraine Tuesday night. Big tough.
Big tough for Coco Gauff. Big tough for Coco Gauff. All right.
That's it.
That's going to do it for the news. We'll have more news tomorrow. Kyle, it is Wednesday. And, part of doing a sports show, you got to try to mix in some personality once in a while. So sometimes I purposely, when the show launched, I was very clear to myself. I was like, I don't want to ever do non-sports topics. And then I was like, well, we got to show some personality once in a while. So some other things you and I are both interested in.
So politics.
No, some other things that you and I are both interested in. We both like movies. We both like TV shows. So what's going on right now? So on Wednesdays, we like to do 2 minutes. What you watching right now? So I finally went and saw that 28 Years Later movie yesterday at the Midland movie theater. And my God, that is not at all what I expected. For when I walked in versus what it was an hour after it started versus what it was an hour and a half into it, from what it was when it ended, 3 completely, totally different feelings. And I walked out of the movie ends and I was like, I have no idea why any of that happened. Not in a bad way, though.
In a good way?
In a good way, to where it's like, I kind of have to piece together why I saw this.
Yeah, those are the best movies.
It was a very, if you're a movie buff and you're really into the directors, that kind of thing, this I thought was one of the more cinematic masterpieces that I've seen in a long time. So the stuff where I can't really put it into words, but the cuts, the way that they used sound to make it kind of feel like a psychological thriller in a way too.
The score, you mean?
The story, yes, but
that's what I said.
The story shifted 3 times. It just kept going in different directions.
Yeah.
And when it finally wrapped up, I think I really to me it was my favorite movie of the year.
I got to go see it then. I got to see the first. Well, you don't need to see the other ones, right? Isn't that what you said?
No, you don't need to see the other ones from like 20 years ago.
Apocalyptic movie.
Yeah, but it's not at all like it's not an apocalyptic movie you've ever seen before.
I'm the type of guy where I watch a movie and I will watch 3 or 4 YouTube videos about the movie immediately after watching it.
That's exactly what I did yesterday.
I love doing that. I just want to know everything about the movie, a breakdown from somebody, all the behind the scenes stuff. I'm all into that every time. So
every 20 minutes or so in the movie theater yesterday, I was just like, oh, like there's just a new element added to it. Yeah, it was good. And then, dude, the trailer, it's like, first, I don't like, because I'm not a huge scary movie person, and I guess yesterday was like kind of considered, the 28 years later was kind of considered like a horror movie.
Like, is it a horror? Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was a horror movie. Definitely rated R, but then all the trailers were for horror movies, and I was like, I don't know if I like this. Like, the new Conjuring thing freaked me out. Like, I don't like these movies.
I'm a horror movie guy. I like horror movies.
But July is kind of loaded. I'm not a huge Jurassic Park person, but that's coming out.
Me either.
Superman's coming out.
Michigan Man in the chat on YouTube's talking about F1 as well. That movie just came out with Brad Pitt.
Yep.
Said it's pretty good. Haven't seen it.
And then the Fantastic Four also coming out. A lot of good stuff coming up in July. I'm back in on movies. I'm buying stock on movie theaters.
Buying stock on movies. Summertime, as weird as it sounds, is the best time for movies. For sports fans.
Yes, for sports
You would think
fans.
wintertime would be it, but like in the summertime, it's like, I will watch a movie at 8 p.m. For sure. There's nothing else to watch.
Why not? So I did yesterday. I was like, no Tigers? I'm going to go see a movie. Movie I've been wanting to see for a long time.
It's a good pick.
989-837-6125. We will close out the show with our 2 traditions that we close out every show with when we come back. It is the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt. The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in, Ben Bosscher Show. Two traditions we have to close out every single show. The first of those being, wait, we got to profit, make some money. It is the lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right. We didn't get to do our lock of the day yesterday because the Tigers game went into a postponement, and now there's a doubleheader today. So no win or loss update.
Yeah,
from
first
yesterday.
time this has happened. Same stats as yesterday. 8-13 all time, down 2.76 units, just down 1 unit on the week.
Aren't we 1-1 on the week?
Well, you're 0-1 on the week. Yesterday didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's Wednesday, my dude.
Opportunity to get back in the win column today, going back to the Tigers game. Look, you know how I feel about this Tigers bullpen. It's not very good. And the fact that Sawyer Gipson-Long is not taking up a ton of the bullpen means that Tyler Holland's probably staying out there for a little bit too long unless he just gets blown up in the first inning, which is entirely possible.
We're going to see a lot of guys you don't see a ton of today. That's for sure.
Which makes me think the Nationals, their best players, might have some success today. I'm going to go C.J. Abrams, 2 total bases minus 115 today. Tyler Holland's opening. C.J. Abrams is a lefty who, has decent splits both ways. Like, he has pretty even splits across the boards for average, OPS, power. So it doesn't really matter who the Tigers bring in at some point. He's going to be able to have some success, I think, against the bullpen, because when it's not Flaherty, it's not Olsen, and it's not Skubal, I just feel like the other team's best hitter is going to have some sort of success until the later guys like Canely and Vest come into the picture. This kind of reminds me of like, it's a bullpen day for the Tigers. We're going to bet on the other team's best player to have a little bit of success. This kind of reminds me of 2 years ago when I would just take whoever the Lions were playing, I'd take their number one receiver and just take their over every single week. And sure enough, every single week it would hit because the Lions could not contain the other team's best receiver a handful of years ago.
Yeah.
This is similar to that in a bullpen day. For a bullpen I don't really trust at this moment in time. Even the guys you do trust, it's like based on one outing because they're mostly no-names. I feel like C.J. Abrams can have some success here against Detroit today.
I don't hate this pick. To clarify, this is just for the first game, correct?
Yes, first game.
Since this is a doubleheader.
Yeah, I
You
wouldn't.
know what
do it
I was kind of
Flaherty.
thinking about as far as a pick like could have been taken? The Tigers seem to blow out the other team at least at one of the 2 games every time they have a doubleheader.
Like an alt spread type of thing?
Like a Tigers run line by like 4 or 5. They beat the Pirates 9-2 in game 1 of their last doubleheader. The last doubleheader was against Colorado. Blew them out in both games, but...
Well, that's Colorado. You also just named
right.
2 of the worst
teams. And then the other
doubleheader,
doubleheader, Baltimore, 6-2.
Okay.
Those are their 3 doubleheaders that they've had. So
they
had more doubleheaders than that.
Those are also against 3 bad teams, to be fair. Not that the Nationals
the
are
Nationals are also a bad team. Yeah, like they're just right with those teams.
Oh, Aaron said on the YouTube chat in a different sports book account, generic, that was plus 120, so even better value if you can get it like
you're
that.
Messing up, man.
I am?
Yeah, you didn't explore your options.
Well, that wouldn't be fair if it wasn't consistent, if I just found the best odds, and like I keep it consistent with the book that I use.
Yeah,
I feel
you're
like
fair.
that makes the most
with
sense.
Generic sports book.
Yeah, generic sports book. That's right. Pay us money.
Right, that makes sense.
Maybe we'll tell you who it is. All right, you tailing or fade in this one?
I faded yesterday and it didn't even happen, so I feel like it's a sign that I should tail. I'll rock with you on this one. Don't love Tyler Holton right now.
Yeah, neither do I. So we either need a double or 2 singles or a home run or something along the lines from the Nationals.
What's going to happen is he's going to go 0 for 4 in game 1 and then
hit 3 bombs in game 2 against Flaherty.
Yes.
Oh, he's definitely hitting a bomb against Flaherty if he does that in game 1. Need to see something from Flaherty today. Okay, that is our first tradition to close out the show. That is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Second tradition we have is guessing the one and only Colin Cowherd's Open. Neither of us scored a point yesterday. We were real hot there for about 2 weeks, but...
How did neither of us score a point yesterday, by the way? Like, I love Colin. We literally both picked the Damian Lillard thing, just different aspects of it. And he was like, nah, I'm leading with the Lakers. Losing Dorian Finney-Smith. That's the lead.
Maybe he had his lead, and when the Damian Lillard thing happened, he was like, I don't want 2 days in a row for me to abandon the lead that we planned out. That'd be my best guess. Because that happened at what? Like
that's fair.
10:30? Oh, that's a lot of time for him to...
It's a lot of time, man. He did it on Monday, too, and he's also the GOAT. Like, he can pivot like that.
What are you going with today? Who is the
You're
first?
Up first today.
Oh, man.
7-5, you're up.
Oh,
I got 1 point this week so far.
1,000,000% WNBA.
1 million.
It's going to be something with the Indiana Fever. They win the Commissioner's
It's not Red Panda.
No, it's not Red Panda. They win the Commissioner's Cup yesterday. No Caitlin Clark, but Sophie Cunningham is... I think this is a Sophie Cunningham thing. I think this is a Sophie Cunningham, Indiana Fever.
About what, though?
What she said about the expansion of the league. I think he's doing big picture WNBA stuff to open up the show.
Okay. Yeah, they had the Commissioner's Cup last night. Fever won.
Like general direction of the league, trending in the right way. Even yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I like that pick. I probably would go with it if I had the first pick. I think he leads with Dame talk today. Or no. Do I want to go Dame talk or Milwaukee Bucks talk?
You could parlay those things together, I feel like, if I'm going a different direction entirely.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Damian Lillard, Milwaukee Bucks talk. I think he leads with it today. Had 24 hours to think about it. That's what I'm going to go with. Nothing big in the NBA has happened since then. You kind of thought DeAndre Ayton was going to sign with the Lakers today.
That wouldn't even be lead worthy for him.
He would have led it with Lakers stuff, though.
Yeah.
Like just a general Lakers thing.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, I'll go with Bucks Damian Lillard stuff.
I'll go with Indiana Fever, general direction of the WNBA for predicting Colin Cowherd's
I like that
Open.
pick.
I'm up 7-5 all time. We're just keeping score on the all time for Kyle and I. Okay.
It was 7-4, making a little bit of a comeback here.
After 1 point, after one win,
yes.
You calling that a comeback? We're going a little bit of a run before we call it a comeback.
Right.
All right, that is our second tradition. Hey, we're going to be doing a huge show a little bit later on today as well. We're going to talk to Clayton Sophie of the Wolverine.com to go over some of the more recruiting stuff that Michigan has been on a heater with over the past week or so. We're going to talk to Dan Hasty, voice of the West Michigan Whitecaps who are coming into town, and potentially Scoop Jackson to talk a little Pistons. So with that being said, we will be back tomorrow. But man, like if you guys are in town this week and this weekend and don't have 4th of July plans already, like call the ticket office and get here to Dow Diamond, because it actually, if you're a baseball fan and enjoy coming to Loons games, this is the game to be at for the season. You have the major league affiliate that plays in the state and the Tigers, their team's in town. That's reason number one. The Loons, I mean, just a fun time. Reason number two. All the top 100 prospects playing in this game. We've got 5 of them. That'd be reason number 3.
All playing in the Futures game.
All playing in the Futures game. Fireworks, reason number 4.
You're forgetting the big one.
Bluey is coming to the ballpark on Saturday.
Bluey, red, white, and bluey, baby.
Red, white, and bluey. But before we get to the Bluey night, we do have our 4th of July game. We are playing on the 4th of July. When the schedule first came out, I was like, oh, 4th of July game. But now I'm like looking forward to it in a way where it's like, I can't believe
it's on a Friday too.
We get to be here watching baseball on the 4th with all these top 100 prospects. I did not think Max Clark and Kevin McGonigle were going to be still in the minor, or still in high A is what I'm trying to say. By the time 4th of July rolled around, but would you look at that? They're still here. They're 2 top 12 prospects now. New MILB rankings came out today. Max Clark 12, Kevin McGonigle 7, the new Tigers number 1 prospect. Such a fun time coming up at Dow Diamond, but we'll let you guys know about it again tomorrow. We're going to take Friday off. Oh, I can't wait to do our 4th of July takes tomorrow, though, on the 3rd of July.
Man, I can't wait for this.
We have a good time here on the holidays because we always do a little overrated, underrated,
Classic,
rated.
is this holiday overrated?
Yeah.
And Ben's answer is always yes.
It's not always yes. It's not
It's like
always
95% yes.
A lot of times it's yes. I don't know if it will
Right.
be tomorrow. Guess you'll have to
Okay.
tune in and find out. Appreciate everyone stopping by at some point today. Hey, if you haven't gone to our YouTube page and subscribed, please do so. It helps us out. If you enjoy the show at all, if you agree or disagree with anything that we're saying, please head to the YouTube page and subscribe to that. You guys can watch the entire show on there from 9 to noon. Please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, 100.9 The Mitt. Just search that. Facebook as well. Join us in there. We'd appreciate it. It goes a long way. All right, everyone. We will be back tomorrow. That was the Ben Bosscher Show. Hope it was worth it. See you tomorrow, guys.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.